Greetings, everybody. Happy Wednesday. I'm still not used to saying that. I'm still gonna be confused over what day of the week it is. Anytime I start a stream, I think that's just the way it's gonna be. But what is up, everybody? Voice cracking about 5 seconds into streaming, barely able to form sentences. Yeah, we're streaming all right. Atomic Runner, DJ Beats, what is up? Lurkers in chat, VOD viewers. Equally welcome, everybody, of course. So, it is stream day again. We are back. I finished Onimusha 2 on Monday, and that was a great time. I was very happy in the end with how it all worked out well. I had very little confidence that we would actually finish because a lot of that playthrough was kind of progress wasn't super smooth, and I think I had assumed that there was more of the game left than I was naturally maybe thinking that there was. But there wasn't that much left, and we finished, and it was a good time. That game went some pretty wild places towards the end with the fucking airships and full Giger towers, and I mean, the final boss was pretty sick. We finally got the proper Demon Nobunaga battle that we were kind of denied in the first Onimusha, so that was satisfying. I had mentioned at the end of last stream that I probably was not going to want to jump into Onimusha 3. Or at least not immediately. Figure that after a bit of a, not a slog, but you know, well, my own impression, which I guess may or may not be accurate, but my own impression is that most of the time on this here channel, I don't necessarily spend, you know, 3, 4, 5 streams in a row just playing through one single game. I do that every now and then, but other times I kind of jump between things. And since we had just finished Onimusha over like 4 streams, Onimusha 2 rather, I was like, you know what? I think I'm going to want to break things up with something quicker, something simpler, just a little light palate cleanser in between Onimushas. But last night I was like, oh, I should plan something for stream tomorrow, but I was just like too tired and like I just didn't feel like putting any effort into it, so I was like, whatever. I'll figure something out during work tomorrow. So during work today, then I was just thinking about it a little bit, and it's like, you know what? Even just, what's the point of trying to make a concerted effort to like try to come up with something that's gonna somehow feel more relaxing and less demanding than just playing Onimusha 3? So it's like, you know what? Fuck it. Let's just play Onimusha 3. That's just what it's gonna be. We're gonna do that. So we're gonna do that. We're gonna play Onimusha 3, and this is gonna be interesting, exciting. Capcom games generally deliver high quality action and thrills, and I've had a blast with the first 2 games. I wouldn't necessarily call them like my favorites or anything, but there's a lot about them to really enjoy. You know, they're just super high quality games and a lot of cool, interesting aspects to them in terms of the visual presentation and the environments in particular. I felt in Onimusha 2 were awesome. I mean, there were a lot of really cool creatures and characters, but some of the environments really blew me away. And I don't know, it feels like every game in the series has like its own vibe I mean, they feel cohesive, but I guess more to the point, each of them seem to have kind of brought in different kind of artists and creators and stuff. So what was his name? Keita Amamiya, who did a bunch of the creature designs and stuff for the second game. He was not involved in the first one, and he's not involved in this one as far as I can tell. Surfam, what's up? Onimusha, that's right. Of course, as heavily discussed, this game brings back Takeshi Kaneshiro as Akechi Samanosuke, as well as introduces Jean Reno as Jacques Blanc, the French military officer who switches places with Samanosuke in the plot, as I understand it. This is a fairly expansive game in terms of scope of the plot, because it spans space and time far beyond the previous games, taking place both in 16th century Japan, but also in modern day Paris. Apparently, it sounded vaguely familiar. I read a quick like plot summary, just not a plot summary, but like a what's the word? Synopsis of the game, just as I was prepping some stream stuff right now. I was like, oh yeah, right. I guess he Jean Reno's character is not like a medieval whatever. He's like a modern day dude, but he has a demon whip, I guess. Well, I'm sure that'll be all explained in the game. I did play this very, very briefly when it first came out, and I remember absolutely nothing about it beyond... I played the English version, in which Jean Reno's character speaks French with his actual voice at the very beginning, and then I guess through some story explanation stuff, like he starts speaking English, or Japanese in this version, I guess, when he's dubbed, which, you know, if he's being dubbed by a Japanese actor in the Japanese version, that's not, like, you know, that's normal, that's to be expected. But I remember when I played this, the fact that he was dubbed by a different actor for his English voiceover felt really weird. Because I guess it's more noticeable when it's, you know, a language you can understand. But I don't remember anything about how the game looks or plays or anything, so it'll be really interesting to compare this to the previous games. What else is there to say? I'm not really sure. Like I said, I don't know the game super well. Let's take a quick look at the manual. Just in case there's important lore here that we don't want to miss. It's a pretty cool picture on the back. This game also continues the tradition of the right to left, rather, reading order of the Onimusha manuals. Yeah, well, I mean, I guess it's interesting too, because the first Onimusha was like fully bilingual, right? Even the Japanese version has full English voiceover and stuff. And that means that the localization and translation and voiceover and everything, it was all done like at the same time, right? Onimusha 2 was not bilingual at all, and I don't think this one is either, because I was thinking about it like, well, you know, when I played this back in the day, the English version has no Japanese in it, so the Japanese version probably doesn't have English in it either. I guess we'll see. But either way, I guess it could be a localization thing. Like, I'm sure he speaks French. You know, the Jean Reno, because obviously Takeshi Kaneshiro does his own voice, his character's voice in, well, all of the first game, and I would assume he does so here too. So obviously they're not going to have Jean Reno do Japanese voiceover. And I'm assuming there's some plot explanation for why he speaks Japanese, or the fact that they understand each other or whatever. So I guess I'm just speculating here, of course, but I figure the idea would have been from the very beginning to get him to do the French voiceover that's used in the beginning of the game, and then have a different actor do the Japanese voices. It just seems more conspicuous when you translate that kind of to the English version, where obviously Jean Reno would have been able to do the voiceover in English. So I don't think it's necessarily a matter of budget, because I don't think Takeshi Kaneshiro was cheap either. Like, he was a huge movie star in Asia. So, like, it's... I don't know. I mean, that could go some way towards explaining it. Maybe it's a convenience factor of, like, well, it happens to save us some money, that we can also do it this way, and it's convenient. I don't know. I just thought it was very conspicuous in the English version. I'm very curious to see how I'm going to feel about that in this version. Well, we got some nice artwork here for the table of contents and story intro stuff, but we'll kind of skip through this. All right, so we have the character introduction here. We see here, yeah, Samanosuke, 1582, and Jean in 2004. I'm very curious how the modern day elements are going to feel, because I thought the environments, like the first game, They were cool, but they were a little bit generic in a way. The whole Samurai Castle stuff was kind of not that remarkable in some ways. Excuse me. Whereas the second game had a lot more inventive and creative kind of environments. I mean, it had some that were kind of generic, but a lot of them really weren't. And I still think that a generic version of a medieval samurai type location environment, like, that's going to be still more exotic than a contemporary major city that's going to be mostly gray. So I'm really curious if, and if so, how they managed to make the Paris stuff visually exciting. I mean, maybe there's a bunch of Genma purple alien goop and shit, and there's a lot of crazy stuff going on. I mean, we can only hope, right? Oh yeah, there's Michelle, who's Jacques' girlfriend or lover or wife or whatever. Some other characters here. All right, we got Lord Nobi. Looks pretty cool. It looks fairly similar to 2, but maybe not quite as cool as it did. I don't know. I guess this is the guy, the old bone priest from the first game as well. Wherever this is. In fact, let me see if I can read the name here. Mori Ranmaru. I don't think this character was in any of the other games. Alright, that's it for characters. UI looks very similar to 2, except there's a new gauge. There's the life gauge, and then there's a demon strength gauge. No, never mind. I just misreading. Never mind. That's just the demon, the super meter. We have the orbs. You have the yeah. Okay. It looks very similar. Controller stuff. I feel like this is going to be easier to just play and look in the options, because trying to parse a graph like this and the instructions are all written vertically, it's I think it's going to be easier to look in the game's option screen. Alright, you can move. Very similar. You can actually use the analog stick to move now. A little different. Oh, interesting. Wow, okay. So the D-pad is tank controls, and the analog stick is Super Mario 64 controls. I'm very curious how that works out. We'll give that a shot. R1 to go into fighting stance. What's up, spiritual chief? Yeah, Guildenstern is the bone priest. Yeah, like the samurai kind of stuff. Like, it's you know, it's like any setting, it depends on what you do with it, right? And it can be exotic and exciting, but I think putting the kind of twist they put on it in the second Onimusha game was so much more exciting than the first one. So I hope we still get some of that in the third game. Final one, what's up? Will I be playing, what was it even called? Onimusha, I guess the English one is called, what, Blade Warrior? Something like that? We actually played that previously, however briefly, on a previous stream. But no, I'm just focusing kind of on playing through the Onimusha, the proper Onimusha games. It might be interesting to revisit it after we have played all the other games, because when I played that, I had zero familiarity really with these games. But it's just that I happen to have these games because I bought them. I made a joke bid for $3 on an eBay auction like 2 years ago, and no one else bid, so I got all 4 games for like $3. I was like, oh, okay, cool. I guess I'll put them on the shelf and maybe play them sometime, and well, here we are. Buraiden, yeah, that's the one. Onimusha Buraiden. Senjutsu Kaku no Shio. What was that? Triangle. Oh, okay, yeah, that's just pressing the triangle button to do demon attacks. I just want to kind of make sure, because I was curious about some of the Isen like special counter stuff in the previous games that I never really learned how to do, and I was like, maybe I should see if I can learn how how some of the combat stuff works by actually reading the manual. um, I don't know. I don't think there's anything really new there. Let me see. Onimusha Tactics is not something that particularly interests me, nor is it a game I own, so it's not going to be played anytime soon. Hold R1 and press square. Oh, I think that's... Oh, yeah, that's like the charging stuff. Yep. Okay, charge attacks. I guess, yeah, it's a little bit different between Summonosuke and Jacques, it would appear. But we're gonna get, like, lore books to explain this, I'm sure. Okay, circle to kick. I do just want to sift through this real quick before we get into it. Onimusha Henshin. Okay, so here's an interesting thing. They retained the system from the second game where you collect purple orbs to go into Onimusha mode. But in this game, you actually do have to trigger it manually. So you can charge it up and then you press the right stick to activate the mode. It'll be interesting to see if my theory held true that I'm going to find myself not using it and holding onto it for too long. If I'm not forced to use it. Or, oh, interesting. If you have 5... Oh, okay, so maybe this is how it's going to end up going. If you have 5 orbs and you run out of health, it will automatically activate. And I guess you will... Yeah, Onimusha Fukatsu. Onimusha, like Demon Warrior Resurrection. So you gain just a sliver of health back, and... That's cool, that's cool. Full life insurance. Hisatsu, special attack. Yeah, there's Isen. Okay, so... Taking no kogeki ga ataru... Yeah, it just says press square right before getting struck by an enemy attack. Or, same with a projectile, you can deflect it. I didn't exactly expect to hit any epiphanies here about the Isen. I was just curious, however, to read and see if maybe I could learn something and maybe actually use them a little more reliably or a little more just at all. Grab and throw. Okay, that's a jack thing, I guess. Yeah, fuck it. I think we'll just jump into this. There's a bunch of different souls. Same as before. Menus, items, weapons, equipment, maps. Yeah, I think this is... Saving. Okay, yeah, special items. Yep, these all look to be the same. Yeah, of course, there's there's ads here in the back of the manual. There's ads for the Onimusha 3 controller, the sword controller, which is pretty sick. Can we get some focus here, please? Webcam, you cooperate? There we go. Yeah, this is what the controller looks like, and there's like buttons and a D-pad and shit on the the hilt. Is there a price? Yeah, 14,800 yen. And this was, I mean, this was somewhat around the same time where Capcom put out the chainsaw controller for RE4 for GameCube. Good times. There's also these pretty sick Onimusha trading figures. Man, I missed the fucking mid-2000s where there were a shit ton of these, like... I have a lot of them based on fighting games and some other stuff. And these are like either... Let's see if we can get some focus here. So it says they're 300 yen each. And they are like, you know, a couple of inches tall, trading like blind box figures. I don't think these would have been like Gumball Machine figures. They might have been, but probably would have bought them boxed. But there's so many of these in the early 2000s, but then it kind of dried out. I mean, I guess oil and plastic prices maybe made those kinds of things less viable from a business sense. I don't know. I mean, they're definitely blind boxed. It even says there's 7 kinds plus 1 secret from Onimusha 1, 2, and 3. Yeah, I'm just very nostalgic because when I was living in Japan in 06, 07, yeah, I bought a shit ton of this kind of stuff. They were really cool, and I just really miss those types of toys because if they were coming out now, dude, I'd buy so much shit. But anyway, yeah, that was the manual. Let us. Oh, I thought I turned this on. I guess I did not. There we go. It's the controller. I might need a controller. And see, whenever the disc feels like being read. For those not familiar, I do have a launch PS2, which has a software bug where it will, every single time, it will attempt to read a disc as a CD instead of a DVD. So only upon failure to read the disc, which it will because it's doing the wrong type of read, it has to be forced into trying to read it as a DVD. And then when it does, it's like, oh yeah, hey, ooh, okay. Create a save file. Yes, please. Oh yeah, I should mute. It's very silly and annoying, but it's fine. No, the red cube is when it legitimately is like cannot read at all. Just what we were looking at, having to wait. If you hear the disk drive, you can hear it like spin up, and then it's just like stops, and then it spins up, and it does that like 5 times because it's trying to read it as a CD. And when it like it's just a it's like a failsafe. If it fails 5 times, it like even if it thinks it shouldn't, it'll like, I guess I'll try the other mode. And then it does, and it's like, oh hey, it's a DVD. Who would have thought? あれから9年. 9 years since Nobunaga exploded. Oh, dude, holy shit. I mean, it's starting strong here. Dude, the level, like it's pretty impressive. Just like the quality of the CG stuff. Like, Onimusha 2 was what, 2002, I think, and this is 2004. I mean, strides were being made, for sure. But yeah, this is like, yeah, I feel like this is a fairly significant step up in visual fidelity. I mean, I'm sure it's like done by a totally different studio and everything. But I mean, it looks pretty great. Animation is not as good as some of the other stuff, but cool overall. I also read, I'm sure we'll see some credits here soon enough, but apparently Donnie Yen was like the stunt coordinator for the CG cinematics in this game. Just again, one in a very long line of like esteemed creators being brought in for these games. And like not at all marketed or noted at all, like in the English versions, pretty much. That's it, Vernon. Yeah, I couldn't think of anything else to play, so I'm like, fuck it, let's do Onimusha 3. I feel like his likeness looks lot better. I mean, well, he looked good in the first game too, but yeah, the quality of the CG is really nice. It's funny I don't remember this at all. I feel like I remember some parts of the beginning of this game, but definitely not this.
久しぶりだな、左之助。お前を信長には絶対合わせん。
Like the animation definitely doesn't like quite hold up as well as a lot of the like just the quality of the rendering and everything, but it's still like really ambitious and it's really interesting, like just attempting this style of action like full CG. I mean, it's certainly not bad by any stretch. It's still pretty fucking sick. I think it's just by nature of attempting these like very elaborate action bits, some of the sort of shortcomings become a little more noticeable. Very cool though, very cool. Bring back biomechanical shit. Yeah, like, I'm curious again because I was really impressed and happy with a lot of the cool, crazy stuff that was in the second game. But I wasn't sure what to expect because I figured a lot of that was directly attributable to the creators involved in that game and like the art direction and everything. And assuming / knowing that some of those same people would not be involved in this game, it would be entirely plausible that some of that stuff takes a quite different direction. But like, it's not like the second game was a departure from the first one, really. More an evolution. And I wouldn't put it past this game to evolve, so to speak, in a slightly different direction. I expect it to be appealing and cool. Capcom games would typically be. But I won't take it for granted that it will fully capture the vibes that I really liked about the second game. But we'll see. We'll see. That's a good intro. Alright, let's see if we can learn more about the controls and everything here. How did Nobunaga survive Onimusha 2? I don't know. He's seen worse, I'm sure. Subtitles on. Vibration, yes please. Music and sound effects. Yeah, I'll have both. Sound mode, stereo. Listening point. Interesting. If you have like surround sound, I guess, you can set some kind of settings for that. Brightness. I guess it's just a display adjust, yeah. Alright, let's confirm our controls. Oh, interesting. Oh, that's very good. Okay. So it says on the top left, R1 plus circle. With Samanosuke, that's bow attack. So bow and arrow, I guess, is on its own button. That's good, because that means I might actually use it. I fucking never bothered with the bow or the gun in 1 and 2, because it was such a hassle to, like, equip and change weapons. Having it on a button seems like a good idea. So Jacques has some kind of grappling something. I don't know. I forget. I think it said R1 in circle was kick. Well, we'll figure that out, I'm sure. R2 for quick turn. R1 for fighting stance. Hold firmly for attacking or charging attack power. L1 for block. L2, hold it for a bit to display the map, I guess. Yeah, it's because clicking the right stick would bring up the map in 2, but in this game that activates Onimusha Henshin. Yeah, start for menu, select for pause, movement on the D-pad and stick. Square for attack, triangle for special attack, circle for inspect and confirm, X for sucking up demon souls or whatever. Yeah, seems straightforward enough. Yeah, there's the bird at the end, which, in fairness, does not really help answer the question of how he survived. But I also think, it's Nobunaga is it's a good enough answer. I'm happy enough with that answer. It doesn't bother me. Yeah, the charge thing is an analog button deal. You have to press the button firmly. Yeah, he died, but yeah, exactly. You know, that's fine. Pokuten special contents. Choose Samanosuke's outfit. I wonder. So we have the normal costume and special 2. I wonder if this is something to do with like having save data from the other games or something. Or maybe you just always start with this. I don't know. I want to see what this is, but I feel like we shouldn't do, like, we should keep it normal when we start the game. Oh yeah, so I guess he's probably, maybe he looks different in the beginning, because I guess it says, like, his costume will appear when the main game starts. Which, well, Sideshow Kara, start a game from the very beginning. Let's do it. Yeah, Paris, France. I guess we're just going full real time this time, huh? That's a pretty big departure. No more sick pre-rendered backgrounds, I guess. Which checks out, you know, between 2002 and 2004.
Henri?
Ah, c'est toi, papa.
Henri, tu dors encore. Lève-toi vite, sinon tu vas être en retard à l'école.
You're still asleep, Henri. You have to wake up and go to school.
N'oublie pas de te brosser les dents. Et si tu vois Yvette, la voisine d'à côté, dis-lui que je passerai la remercier pour le dîner de l'autre soir.
Ok.
Alright.
Quand est-ce que tu rentres à la maison, papa?
Dad, when are you
Dis-lui
coming
que je
back
passerai
home?
ce soir.
I'll be home tonight.
Jacques Jacques
Je dois te laisser, Henri. Qu'est-ce qui se passe, Philippe?
Viens tout de suite. Il se passe un truc horrible.
Hurry up. Got some bad shit going on. It's not a bad looking model, but the face looks very like unexpressive. I don't know. I don't think this series has done like very expressive characters though. Like good looking models, but not very expressive faces. Got some bad shit going down, all right. The thing is, too, I bet like the character models, I'm sure, are less detailed in this game because obviously they now have to. If they have to render the entire environments in real time, that would make sense that they would have a significantly less budget for polygons and textures for the characters. I mean, still looks good, obviously. Yeah, it's 60 FPS. We haven't seen much in-game footage yet, but this is running at 60 for sure. Well, for what it's worth, 60 FPS was pretty much standard on PS2. But it does also help, I mean... like Resident Evil on GameCube is 30 FPS. I mean, I guess most Resident Evil games are 30. Which would allow them to push certain visuals further. But Onimusha 1 and 2 were both 60. It's pretty cool. You don't rarely ever see this many characters on screen at once in the other games, though. Yeah, but you can really tell, like, I don't know, the character model seems a little chunky. Or maybe it's just because we see them, like, the close-ups and stuff. I don't know, the presentation of all of this just feels quite different. A lot more moving camera. I definitely miss the old style. I have to say, I mean... this is gonna be bad or anything, but... oh yeah, bullet count. Oh yeah, I've got a little arrow counter up there. Yeah, this is the part I remember from the beginning. The big, like, battle shit. The intro stuff, I completely had no memory of it at all. Oh, you can even fucking run around. Oh, never mind. I thought you could run while absorbing souls, but that's not the case. Pacing feels kind of relentless too with the game just starting off with all this. Is there anything over here? Okay, so L2. It's kind of weird. You just have to hold L2 for like a full second. Yeah, the Super Mario controls feel kind of weird. I mean, it feels fine. It just feels unusual. I mean, it's very responsive, so... and I think it obviously makes more sense. Like, with the fixed camera angles, that kind of control scheme gets kind of weird, in my opinion. I mean, the game's going to be pretty generous here, but we might as well stock off with some extra souls, assuming we get to keep them. Do I think they chose Paris as the game's location just because they like Jean Reno? That sounds like a bit of a stretch. So I guess yeah. Can't move the camera, which is probably good. I mean, it's good that the game's kind of designed around it. You end up in some awkward situations as far as enemy placements with regard to camera and stuff, but certainly it's not as if that never happened in the other games. It happens frequently. Like, I mean, the thing is, I don't think, looking at the change to the camera system and everything, whatever dismissive or negative thing I may have to say about it, none of that has any bearing on, like, whether it was the right decision of them to do it, because I think it's... you can fairly easily say, man, this fire looks good, though, that it was, like, the right decision. Simply based on the fact that, like, that was clearly going out of fashion. I mean, even I feel like even by the early 2000s, it was kind of, I don't know, probably on its last legs. I think if this had come out in 2004 and it looked and played just like Onimusha 2, I think it would have just felt old-fashioned. Because I think that's kind of how, like, RE, the remake, I think was received well, but I think Zero wasn't really, and I'm sure that was for other reasons as well, but like by the time RE4 came out in, what was that, 05? I think the general consensus for sure was that like it felt new and fresh and modern and like kind of finally, you know. So I think it was probably the wise decision from that standpoint, and certainly at this point they really knew what they were doing, and this game looks great. And obviously they can do a lot more with the camera and everything. Like, yeah, there's a lot of benefits to doing it this way, of course. But when I'm saying, like, I kind of miss it, or I'm like, ah, man, it's a bit of a step down, it's because, it's exactly because it is such a relic, and it's a specific approach that you don't really, you never really saw after that point. Which makes Onimusha 1 and 2 more kind of interesting to go back to, in a sense, than this game. Of course, in the context of the other games, not so much in the historical context of AAA action games in the early to mid-2000s, but in the context of Onimusha, this now feels quite fresh and different and interesting, so. Interesting, so the controls in combat as well, like when you're using the analog stick, you still move, you still like strafe, but you use like screen relative inputs instead of like strafing left and right. Oh, that guy was a punk. But I like this. I think this is good. Like we talked about in the last game, that Kogan Dantes, even though the final showdown with him was fairly underwhelming, the way he was built up throughout the game as this like super powerful swordsman was awesome, and it was cool to get that kind of payoff. I'm very happy that we get a good look at Nobunaga right at the beginning. We get to see them interact with each other. This is good build-up. Because even in the second game, even though it was super satisfying to see him at the end, the final boss fights and everything were really cool, he still didn't have that much of a presence throughout the game. But here, at the very least, he's established at the very beginning. I like that.
What's with these guys?
Oh, whoops. Some horror music. This game's like pretty violent. I mean, the game does have a disclaimer at the beginning, but I'm still kind of surprised at how graphic these cutscenes are. Jock gonna save the day? Yep, here we go. Of course.
J'arrive. Jacques. Figuring out the controls here. Yeah, you can shoot with the regular attack button. I guess he probably doesn't have his demon whip yet.
trying to... This is like a really weird long delay. I'm hurt pretty bad. Alright, okay. Enjoy the I don't know, it's not that fun to use. I'm looking forward to the whip.
Philippe, il faut partir.
Non, laisse-moi. Va-t'en, Jacques.
Mais non, non, je vais pas te laisser là. Accroche-toi. Allez, viens.
Forget about me.
Viens.
Jacques, rather. Save yourself. Leap. I won't leave you.
Et merde.
Merde.
Encore eux.
More of them coming.
Charogne.
His fucking like stone-faced expression to it. I don't know. It's a little goofy, but that's fine. I'd rather it be a little goofy than too self-serious and like grab. All right, cool. We just Terminatored into this French alleyway. Speaking of goofy, you know, that's just, I mean, I like it. I think it's awesome. Like, Onimusha 2 went some wild places with the Genma, like, technology and demon powers. And all that. Saying, like, fuck it, it was just time travel now. It's a pretty bold direction, you know? What is this? Tutorial stuff? No. Oni no chikara o motsu mono yo. Genma ni tatakai. Onimusha. Onibudo. Onibudo no shou ni. Alright, so we're gotta learn the ways of the Onimusha. The Onibudo. Which is recorded in the writings of Onibudo. Okay, so we can learn new moves. And with the help of these new moves, we can defeat the Genma. Okay, it is basically a tutorial, I guess. Yep. Doesn't Dino Crisis have that in common? I mean, it's been a while since I played any Dino Crisis, but doesn't even Dino Crisis 2, doesn't that have like a time travel element? Or there's some weird shit going on in Dino Crisis 2, I feel like. Alright, so defense. L1. Okay, there's like a training challenge type thing. Actually, let's try this. I wonder if you can like get stuff. Yeah, there's like beginner, medium, advanced. I assume we can get something from doing this. Alright, so by defending against enemy attacks, souls are going to pop out. So collect 15 of them. So I guess I can probably just hold... Made it miss instead. These guys. Keep accidentally running out of the way. Oh, they only gave one. Come on. Is that just like a Justifan type thing? Because it looked like he reeled back further. Come on, guys. Do I have to block for them to attack? Okay, medium difficulty. Yeah, I assume this is gonna get trickier. Okay, no other instructions, but I feel like this might be, if not easier, at least a lot faster. You don't have to wait a minute for them to attack you. of course, we're going to be challenged to do things that are more inherently more complicated than just blocking. But I feel like this could absolutely... could be a way to maybe be tasked with doing a sen or something that I don't exactly know how to do. Okay, so I'm guessing this guy is gonna... probably do stuff that's unblockable at some point. Well, I guess he... oh, he almost grabbed me there. Looks like some attacks make you kind of reel in a way that's maybe... I'm not sure. So far, this one kind of seems the easiest. I think that was was probably the fastest. Migoto, splendid. You have learned the Onibudo way of defense. Hey, we got a small healing item. You want to continue your training? All right, let's take a look. Oh yeah, so we got defense, stance, and is this ranged attack? I'm not sure. Or is this special moves, maybe? Obviously, there's a whole bunch of categories, but I don't know. This is going to give us a slight bump in items or proficiency in general. I don't know. Hold R1 to lock onto enemies. Sure. If we don't have to be as passive, which presumably we will not, might be quicker. Okay, so I hit him in the... hit him from behind. I think I have to hit him from behind. Actually, let's try. Yep. I was like, did I fuck up? But no, it was just... yeah. Oh, that was easy. So I'm guessing it's going to be the same challenge. Yeah, so this here it makes a little bit more sense to have different enemies that are maybe more aggressive or fight differently. Probably one or two souls disappeared there, but... get up, please. Ah, come on. There we go. Hey, what's up, NPC? Love this game. A lot of people seem to have very fond memories and positive feelings towards this game. We'll see. I mean, I'm sure I'll enjoy it, but it'll be interesting to see. Not in terms of maybe ranking them or rating them as such, but I'm interested in how it compares to the other games in a lot of ways. Nice, that counts. Kind of interesting if you guard their attacks. Kind of makes them stagger a little bit. Oh, I was trying to lock onto the other guy. Come on, how's that not from behind? There we go. That was pretty tricky. I mean, I don't know if I will need to do that exactly, but see what this is then. Yeah. Press circle while holding R1, and you will be able to hit flying enemies, or airborne enemies, technically, with a ranged attack. Hold circle for longer to aim at enemies above you. It's very convenient, very practical against enemies that are too far away to attack otherwise. Arrows can be found in treasure chests, as well as dropped by enemies. Alright. Yeah, like these games, the characters, like you generally were always very mobile and nimble compared to something like Resident Evil. But it definitely feels like they're, you know, cranking that up even further with this game. Just with the way the controls work. The fact that you can... the fact that you can just press a direction and your character will move that way means essentially, like effectively, that you can just turn on a dime, making it a lot easier to kind of move around, which is, it's interesting. For me, that makes me curious about what some of the boss fights might be like, because I felt ultimately, even though I enjoy the games and I enjoy the fights, I did feel towards the end of 2 that few of the boss fights were like that exciting in terms of what the combat itself was often fun, decent, like not bad, but sort of devolved a little bit into, like, I don't know, avoiding stuff is just a little difficult and a little clunky. So you end up kind of not necessarily tanking everything, but it just like it didn't feel very easy to like do fights super well. It would always kind of like, yeah, you're gonna get hit, it's gonna be a little awkward, the camera angles, like there's stuff like that. And between the changes to the camera and the controls, I feel like the game, like, your character is more capable, which means that the game can ask more of you, basically. Oh, this is interesting. So, in our level up screen here, we have 3 different weapons, none of which we have just yet. We can level up our armor, just like in the second game, except it's just a full suit of armor, it's not split up into multiple parts. But we can also upgrade the Oni gauntlet, which I have no idea what it does. Actually, I guess it just says. 強化すると鬼を Okay, so if you level up this, you will collect souls more quickly. Like, they will get sucked up faster, I guess. Okay, so I guess the charged attacks level up, whatever that means, become more powerful, I guess. Yeah, defense goes up. I mean, it's nice that it actually explains, because Onimusha 2 kind of didn't explain jack shit. It let you upgrade your various pieces of armor, but it didn't really tell you what happened if you did. I mean, you raise your swag. Worth it for that. See, still gets a little weird with the screen relative controls to the camera angle switches. So, damn it.
Plus d'unitions.
Bullets. Running low.
Allez, amenez-vous. Hein? Un samouraï?
Ouais. ここはどこだ?
Mais qui es-tu?
Where is this? Who are you?
D'où tu viens?
Where'd you come from?
Philippe.
Oh yeah, right. Philippe. I kind of enjoy the fact that there's not really much of an explanation for this. Like, it looks like Nobunaga just the first Terminator time portal. It looked like it caught him by surprise. It's like, oh shit, I guess someone else is getting warped away. Fuck it, I'm out of here. And then he just bumps into Jacques. Like, why not? Also, what's up, Lad Axel? Cell phone? Okay, sure. Oh shit. Bone dock. I'm doing alright. It's quite a hectic day at work, and I wasn't able to think of anything else to stream, because I was kind of planning on doing something else. And I was like, you know what? Fuck it. Let's just jump right into Onimusha 3. And this is right at the beginning of the game, basically. Kind of getting to grips with the controls, because they're a little different. Like, by and large, you do the same things in the same way. There's some changes here and there. Doesn't seem like you have the down-up special moves. I guess maybe you need to get the scrolls to use them. Highly dramatic music. I will say, you know, I was wondering and kind of speculating on this game's ability to make urban streets interesting. The art is quite well crafted. Like, the shadows look fucking amazing. How are the shadows this nice looking? I mean, from the characters? Like, all the lighting in the environment is... Need a key? Like, pre-baked and whatever. But, like, I feel like seeing these kinds of, like, very soft shadows. But not just that they're soft, but, like... Maybe that's just a bit of an illusion, but it kind of feels like the shadows are sharper towards the feet. Whereas, like, the shadow his upper body's casting is super blurry. That's really fascinating. Very interesting technique. It looks great. So, I mean, of course, yeah, Capcom artists, like, super top-notch. The environments themselves, like, Paris tunnels, like, yeah, not exactly as exciting as the fucking flying turtle airship at the end of Onimusha 2. Kaede died off-screen in between games. Well, that's unfortunate. Yeah, as far as the manual goes, at least, like, this game doesn't seem to have quite the cast of side characters that we saw in the second game. Like, I understand the main gameplay gimmick of this game is the two playable characters that presumably you will... you know, 1 and 2 had sections where you played as someone else, but that was like a little side thing. Here, I'm assuming that Jacques will be upgradable, like everything will be... That they're basically on even terms, you know? Jacques and Samanosuke. So it's not the lack specifically of, like, partner characters. But, like, just in general, other story characters. So I wonder Yeah, I was just thinking about the arrows. Yeah, I guess you'll probably like expected to use them more in this game. Because you don't really get many arrows, I feel like. It wasn't necessarily the case that you're kind of expected to take out any flying enemies or archers and stuff. Kind of harder to get the down steps to work. Like, just because the character is a little more floaty in a way. It's a little more like kind of slippery. Which, you know, to a large degree means you have... it sounds like a bad thing. It isn't generally. But specifically in something like that, it's you can kind of slide. Like, it's great to be able to move around and get out of harm's way and position yourself and whatever, but it just feels a little different is all. So there's like a novelty value to this type of location for sure, and I think it's well executed for what it is. But I really hope this is the game's deliberate attempt at being relatively a bit boring in the beginning. It's funny, you think like, oh yeah, fucking time slip, changing places, you know, bringing the military dude into ancient samurai Japan, whatever. Like, yeah, that's pretty out there. It doesn't sound bland and boring, but strictly like the environments. I mean, to me, this feels a little bit like, yeah, it's locked. Like sci-fi movies where you don't have a big budget to shoot in an exotic location, so you come up with some plot contrivance for why, you know, Masters of the Universe takes place entirely in some California suburb, except for like the 2 scenes you can afford to shoot in an actual set or a cool location. Obviously that's not really applicable to video games, and you know, this looks fucking awesome. But you kind of get that same vibe from this sort of bland urban environment. All right, the Heavenly Twin Blades. I didn't actually look at the pause menu. Do I? Okay, so that's the sword. I see. Okay, yeah. This is just my human sword. We had the demon sword shit in the intro part, but I guess it didn't come with us in the Terminator time travel rules, I guess. Lore. Onibudo sho kamae. So, yeah. These are combat manuals. Like, you can do something with it. Like, I remember, you know, with Castlevania Lords of Shadow, the promise of like a modern day city Castlevania, like, that's interesting. And then the game didn't really do much of anything with it, unfortunately. But we'll see. I'm sure this game, like I said, it starts pretty rad with the assault on the castle and whatever, but if any part of the game is going to be a little duller than others, I mean, it probably would be at the very beginning. Oh, there she is. That's Michelle.
Hey, bouge pas!
Don't move.
Les mains en l'air.
Hands up.
Qui es-tu?
Who are you? Oh, we're gonna open the door. Okay, thank you. That's a pretty big doorway, by the way. Like, the thing is, there's a novelty value.
異国の言葉か。
Yeah, they don't speak the same language here.
何を言ってるんだ。
What are you saying?
おい、待て。
But the novelty value, I think, wears off pretty quickly compared to the like holy shit factor of stuff that's just straight up cool. Now, granted, I'm sure you can look at any number of PS2 action games set in gray cities, and just those gray cityscapes might look a lot less aesthetically pleasing than this. But, you know, this game is competing with Onimusha 1 and 2. 2 especially, of course. Which not only had some really slick kind of concepts for location, but also the amazing looking pre-rendered backgrounds. And that's those are big shoes to fill, on both counts, in my opinion. Of course, there's more this game can do with real-time stuff, but at the same time, as I mentioned before, like that, it's, you know, that has like negative novelty value, just because that's what every game has been doing since. Whereas the pre-rendered stuff, you kind of see stuff that looks a little different and in some ways better than you might expect. This is just such a different approach. But again, from a technical standpoint, this is very impressive. Alright, okay. Alright, she'll be fine. We're just gonna go upstairs and chase after that other fella. It's a key. Nice. I wonder if we can use that to that other place. Past, like in that first tunnel section. Oh, I think I didn't accidentally ascend. Nice. But yeah, it's just kind of funny how that kind of thing can work out, where at the time, and I'm sure this was probably even a response that some people would have had to Onimusha 2. Oh, nice, I can do the kind of instant defense and then... Okay. That's a regular block. Nope. Timing window's not that big. He's got different attacks with slightly different timing. It's kind of hard to get that. So I guess I did it correctly there, but even I thought when you do the block with the right timing to do the ascent, I thought the block itself had a different kind of spark. But that doesn't seem to be the case. Blocked. So is this... yeah. Manually use it. But yeah, like at the time, I think doing the pre-rendered backgrounds would have not gone over well. But if they had, playing it today, it would have been fucking sick how crazy I'm sure it would look. There we go. No, there's a special flash, okay. There we go. So clearly there's something back there? I can't go around here. But I saw a chest or something in the corner. Maybe we'll come back here or something. Haha, puzzle boxes are back, baby. Oh shit. Life bar extension. So here's an interesting conundrum then. We're going to be swapping characters, and in the previous games, whenever we collected items with other characters, they just got dumped to Samanosuke or Jubei when we kind of returned. But do you have a shared inventory between Jacques and Samanosuke in this game is the question. And if so, would there be reason to be like stingy with this and hold on to it and maybe keep it for the other character or something? I mean, I think I feel pretty comfortable in saying I can at least extend Samanosuke's life bar once and not worry much about it. But it's just a realization that I don't know how the game works. Oh, yeah, that's an actual Isent. Mysterious power. Feel the souls. And there we go. I might as well, like, practice that when we have, like, not many enemies and stuff. It's, like, pretty quiet. Getting a little visually mixed up there, and they're standing on top of each other. I was gonna say I should hit both. Yeah, because you get health back, and I guess you get more XP. So trying to get into the habit of doing that. Oh yeah, I can do this now. I just want to see my charge attack. One level. I mean, there's a lot of cool stuff. Like, it's interesting. Obviously, again, I keep harping on it, but like, I miss what was going on with the pre-rendered stuff. But like the god rays and shit. Like, there's a lot of visual tricks, and yeah, this is a very good looking game. From a like technical and artistic standpoint. Oh yeah, I didn't even think about it. The fact that the first weapon we get is like the dual. We don't even have a regular sword. Yeah, I think a new version of this would go over very well. It's kind of unfortunate with the situation. Let's see how this looks. Okay. Okay, it looks about like we need to guess about 6 bars for this one. This is gonna come with us for the rest of the game. We need defense at some point, you know, it's gonna be worth it. And if we look sicker after doing it, it's gonna be extra worth it. Like with the remaster of the first game coming kind of, I don't know if out of nowhere is fair to say, but it's like, okay, that's all right, cool, why not? But it's just the first game, and like a surprising amount of effort went into that with the new soundtrack and I guess new voiceovers and stuff like that. But it was just the first game, which I know some people had mentioned that they wished they had included Genma Onimusha and whatever new content that game had. Which I can see, you know. It kind of sucks when a new version of a game comes out 20 years later and it's still not the like definitive version. Time shit's happening. What exactly is going on here? Where? We're in Paris, the capital of France. 500 years in the future from your battle. Right, Lord Nobunaga, not restricted by time or space, I guess. Let me introduce my child.
stunned.
Oh, little heat waves. Like, yeah, there's so many cool little visual effects and stuff. Like, this is a really impressive game. But yeah, so like, it's in this kind of awkward situation where some arrows added. All critical, maybe? I'm not sure. If that pre-release didn't do super well, which I hear it maybe didn't. I mean, that's hearsay, I suppose, but it seems believable because, you know, whether they intended to or not, I think Capcom themselves kind of set expectations with stuff like the numerous Devil May Cry re-releases. And I think a lot of people probably felt that, you know, oh, they're doing Onimusha. Well, cool. If it's just the first game, then, I don't know. But I'll buy the third one, maybe, when they get to that. And then, I guess they didn't/won't. Okay. Couldn't block that. Oh, fucking hell. Okay. Am I dead? Okay. Yeah, I didn't worry about dying because I was like, let's see how that works. If there's like a continue or checkpoint type deal, or do you just load the save game, or how does that work? Looks like it works just like the other games. You just load your save game. As usual, I'm being very stingy with my healing items. Let me just check one thing real quick before we go back to that fight. I'm assuming I can't just... There's no, like, jump buttons or anything. Ah! I thought that looked like a piece of lore. Writing about the Genma's attack on Paris. Okay, it's not that exciting, but still. Oh, you say probably cost too much to relicense Renault's likeness. That may be a factor, but he is far from the only person. Like, these games are, like, if anything, it's, like, slightly miraculous that the first game could be re-released. Because, I mean, there's so many, like, PS1 games, PS2 games, whatever, that have, like, licensed music and other stuff. Like the Japanese recording industry is like famously extremely what's even the word for it, but like not litigious necessarily, but like very like ironclad contracts. Wow, okay, we're doing shit here, man. So there would not have been rights to re-release stuff. And these games, I mean, that's just an example, and you have a lot of games on, like, Virtual Console, or more commonly, I guess, like the PlayStation 3, like, digital re-releases of PS1 and PS2 games that were, like, conspicuous, or just, you know, certain games that have just never been re-released. And not just, like, you know, Disney games or TMNT games or stuff like that. You know, of course you have, like, Outrun not having the Ferrari license, so they can't re-release it, or the aircraft in Afterburner Climax and whatever else. But you might also have like just someone who's involved in some way. Oh yeah, shit. Wait, okay, so I have... Actually, let's try this. I have 5 purple orbs now. So if I die, if I lose health, I should automatically go into Onimusha Henshin. So let's try that. If I die, that's fine. And yeah, there we go. Nice. And these games are like full of stuff like that. Maybe not music, although of course the second game has the music video for the theme song of the game, which, you know, that would be simple enough to excise. That's like not a central part of the game. And in the context of like this HD remaster type thing, it would be easier to excise that content than it would be in the context of re-releasing a PS1 like ISO on the PlayStation Store. But you have the likeness, like, I don't think the fourth game, I think the fourth game's characters are all like just original, like not based on anything. But all the main characters in 1, 2, and 3 are based on licensed actor likenesses. And not just likenesses, but voice performances too. And it's not just that, but like you have
Philippe?
like character designers, creature designs, like there's like a bunch of external
Ça va?
like people brought in to make these games. And you know, we don't know what the contracts would have looked like, but it's like for every kind of outside person involved in a project like this, it's entirely possible. I mean, especially, it's more likely the more high profile the person is, I suppose. But it's like entirely plausible
Adieu, mon vieux.
that contracts would have to be renegotiated with each one of those parties.
Adieu.
And I think this series, that's like kind of a hallmark of this series. In a way that it never was for something like Devil May Cry. Which, to me, I mean, it's not a one-to-one comparison, but I think it is comparable to something like Capcom re-releasing Marvel games or JoJo's Bizarre Adventure or Disney games and stuff like that, which has happened, but every time it has happened, it's been a little bit of like, holy shit, I can't believe they were able to do this. It's not like, yeah, of course. It's definitely a bit like, oh, okay, wow, they actually were able to get that work done to make this happen. And I get the impression, like, I think maybe people don't quite realize to the extent to which Onimusha is a little bit stuck in that kind of thing. But yeah, Justice Gakuen was definitely one of those where I guess the work was done to get it re-released, the Japanese version in Japan at least. But that's the thing too. A lot of the time, these Japanese, I mean, it's to take a current topic, the new Super Robot Wars 30, inexplicably getting a Western release. It's like, holy shit, how is that even possible? Because that game is wall-to-wall anime licenses, and those are like very typically extremely convoluted in terms of the domestic rights and the international rights, and I don't know, I'm crazy impressed that they were able to do it. I'm very happy. Not that I really play those games or that I'm into it that as such, but obviously I would much prefer that game to be able to come out than not. I mean, yes, Super Robot Wars have had English language releases for Asian markets, of course. But again, it's like, and yeah, maybe that gave them the data to see that enough people in North America and Europe imported the Asian versions. But even then, I'm sure the licensing for Hong Kong or whatever regions they were releasing those games for, I'm sure that was not trivial either. So yeah, and it's only on Steam. Like, yeah, I mean, anything, it coming out at all is impressive, but you can imagine, I mean, actually, I don't even think you could imagine the amount of hoops that you have to jump through to make something like that happen. And yeah, I mean, I think these games are good, and I would love to see them get the same treatment as, because I think like the HD version of the Resident Evil remake, I was a little bit apprehensive about it in some ways, but by and large, like they did really good by it. Um, I haven't really looked at what the new version of Onimusha 1 is like, but obviously this being like rendered in real time, in many ways it would be even easier, or like it would translate even better to a new um just being kind of republished. But I can't really hold it too firmly against them for not having done it, because I'm sure it's not an easy thing. Like, especially if they went through the trouble of the first game and it did not perform as well as they'd hoped, I'm sure it's a tough sell to say, all right, but if we do the third one, that's going to do super well. I mean, it might, but you're probably going to struggle to convince the bean counters, you know? Um, yeah, Gundam. I mean, sure. I'm sure. Um, they're not equal in terms of complexity, but even then, like anything to do with license. I mean, in fact, even Super Robot Wars existing in the first place is like a pretty impressive thing. Just licensing stuff and bringing them all together like that. Like that's not a. I'm sure that's not trivial. Although, I mean, it helps that they've been doing it for 30 years. Probably makes it a little easier, as all these kind of business dealings tend to do. If there's a track record and um, if there's a kind of provable, you know, money to be earned, then that's gonna grease that machinery, that's for sure. I don't know off the top of my head, but I'm sure there's plenty of other stuff that Capcom has in their back catalog that also hasn't really resurfaced. That certainly would warrant new releases. Um, that would be easier than Onimusha and still hasn't gotten it. I mean, like, we got a couple of different releases of Okami, but they haven't really ever re-released Beautiful Joe or God Hand, for example. And I mean, talking about these other Capcom games from around this time, like Shadow of Rome, which, I mean, I don't know how easy that would be to sell. I don't know if it's any good. I haven't played it, but just as a reminder of like of a game that came out that could similarly, like fucking PN3. Holy shit! I would love to see that game be re-released, because I've seen plenty of like Dolphin renders and stuff, and PN3 is a game that like you could literally just render that in 4K resolution and it looks fucking mind-blowingly gorgeous. Like it has such a minimalist style that scales super well. You wouldn't need to do any work to it and it would look amazing. Now, of course, that was a very divisive, if not poorly received game at the time, so it's not at the top of their list, I'm sure. But like there's a lot of games like that that would be awesome that do not have this giant baggage of all the licensing of actors and stuff, which means it's not that shocking. Like I said, Onimusha 1 coming out is more surprising to me than Onimusha 2 and 3 not coming out. I still have a factory sealed copy of PN3 actually, because I bought it when I was in Tokyo in early 2007. I knew of the game and I was like, oh yeah, shit, it's this game. It was 500 yen, brand new. I was like, oh sick, I'm picking this up. I'll be getting a Wii shortly anyway, and I can play this game on my Wii. And then I didn't buy a Wii, and it's been sitting in my shelf ever since. But it's just as an example, you know, there's a bunch of games like that would be cool to see, and I think I don't even need like a, you know, something like the PS3 like archive stuff and Virtual Console, which I mean, it's not a thing now on Switch, but on previous Nintendo consoles, like those kinds of just keeping these games kind of in print and available, and especially when you have stuff where actually the Virtual Console is a good example, because a lot of on the Wii and I guess Wii U Virtual Consoles, the N64 games ran at like 640 by 480, so they ran at a higher resolution. I mean, or the Xbox back compat, playing original Xbox games in 1080p or even 4K. Even if you're not doing any work to change the graphics or modernize them, just making the games a little more available and playable in a more like, well, not every game is going to benefit from it visually, but some games certainly would. And I think PN3 is a good example of a game that just happens to be built in such a way that, actually comparing it, like Onimusha 1 and 2, if you blow those up to 4K with the original assets, like the characters are not going to blend into the backgrounds nearly as well. That's kind of an extreme example because it's mixing 2D and 3D, but you have a lot of games that are kind of built to spec, they're built for the hardware and including all the limitations and the limitations of the video output and all of that. And like making it super fancy, super crisp, super high resolution can make certain things look a little janky. I mean, that happens. But there's certainly no shortage of games where that isn't really an issue and it still looks really fucking awesome. Anyway, guys, I really need to hydrate and I need to refill my drink. And I've been going for a while, so I think this is a good opportunity for a short break. I'll be back shortly and we will explore these mysterious Japanese woods with our friend Jacques. See you guys in a little bit. All right. I have returned. Robbie Rocket Fingers, what is up? Happy Wednesday and good afternoon. Or whatever time of day it is. All right, we're Jacques. We're in the woods. Lighting looks really good. Like a lot of stuff about this, I don't know. It's just super well executed for the like technology. Just yeah, like obviously, if this scene had been in Onimusha 2, or if they had done like the pre-rendered stuff, a lot of it could have looked way more amazing. And it's funny how, you know, I was praising the second game in particular, but to an extent even the first one, but yeah, mostly the second one, for all the tricks they pulled in making the static backgrounds feel more alive. There were a lot of little video clips, you have a lot of like little smoke puffs or like animated bits of water and stuff. And even though in some ways that's easier to do here, like there's less of it, I feel like, at least immediately. Although, I mean, I guess it's not even fair to say that it's easier. When you have a static image, of course, you can like superimpose anything and just composite it in 2D and have it work. So in a way, it's actually easier in those games.
Qu'est-ce que c'est?
What's that?
Henri!
His son, too? Okay.
Tiens bon, Henri, j'arrive! Merde, plus de balles!
Bullets, alright.
Henri!
Like, it's a good looking game for sure. It's just interesting that the entire approach to so much of it is so different. But having said that, like, obviously a lot of the artistic sensibilities on display in the previous games are very much still here. Hey, what's up, X-Men? Hey, we got a demon gauntlet. What is this thing? Alright, it's a demon whip. Got it. Alright. That's all the introduction we need. Well, okay, I guess we get a bit of lore also. Onimusha Henshin. Okay, well, we already know that, of course. Okay, we can charge attack with R1. Mono tsukamu. R1 button plus maru button. Uke de mono tsukamu. Nagimasu. Alright, so we can grab items and throw them with circle. I thought circle was the kick command. Maybe I misread that in the manual. Alright, that's pretty sick. That's the charge attack. I guess he didn't... He's no longer out of bullets. Alright, circle. Alright, I almost killed my son. That's fine. Block. Actually, can I... Well, never mind. He didn't really fight back. I was curious to try the guard Isen thing. Enemies overall seem quite weak in this. So, like, early on at least.
Henri, qu'est-ce que tu fais là?
Are you okay? Why are you here? So, at this point I'm kind of curious. Is he going to actually speak French in the entire game? That would be pretty sick. But I could swear that in the English version, like, I don't even remember playing this far. But I recall him changing from French to dubbed in English. Yeah, okay, maybe this is where we... Yeah, okay. Some kind of spirit is speaking to him. Yeah, okay. Listen to the words I speak. In 500, like in Japan, 500 years. Oh, your son is in your time. That was Genma. Illusion devised by Satan, so to speak. Yeah, same as the monsters who appeared in your time.
お前と同様に鬼に選ばれし明智左馬之助たちが玄馬の王織田信長を倒すべく本能寺で戦を起こす。だが今のままでは左馬之助たちに勝ち目はない。元の時代へ戻り息子に会いたければ左馬之助と力を合わせ本能寺で信長を倒すのだ。
Okay.
Ça n'a aucun sens. Ramène-moi d'où je viens.
So he says 10 days from now, Samanosuke will
この者が信長を倒す
battle
ま
with
で手助けしてやる。
Nobunaga, but he needs your help. We gotta level up our powers and help. But I'm a little confused about, like, I guess we traveled back
Attends un peu.
我が与えた
Before he
鬼の力。
went to France. I don't know exactly. Well, I mean, we're gonna level up and
Attends. Je n'ai pas encore fini.
figure out how to beat Nobunaga. Don't worry about that. Just the logistics of the whole time warp thing, I'm a little unclear on.
そうカッカしないの。
Alright, we got a new friend.
あたいの名前はアコ。カラステングの一族だよ。よろしくね。
My name's Akko. I'm a Karas Tengu.
言葉がわかる。
あたいの力さ。
I was like, yeah, I can understand you.
金棒だよ。いろんな力を持ってるし、動きは敏捷だし。
Yeah, it's my
頭もいい
powers.
し。
肺に用はない。消えろ。
ひどい。
Yeah, so now he speaks Japanese.
カラステングだって言ってるだろう。
何が何でも元の場所に戻ってやる。きっと方法があるはずだ。それさえ見つかれば。
Alright. Thank you, Jean Reno, for your services. We'll just be borrowing your face for the rest of the game, I guess. But that's cool. I like his Japanese voice too. I feel like there's... I mean, maybe this is kind of front-loaded. But I feel like there's been a lot of talking. A lot of cutscenes and dialogue so far. Okay, so I guess... what was her name? Aki? Whatever. Like, she's gonna help us open... Tengu treasure boxes. A circle. Takusara to Tengu takarabako akete kutemasu. Yeah, she'll open them for us. She'll bring the stuff inside it to us. I see. We can equip stuff for her, I guess. This sounds like a whole thing. I had no idea about any of this. She'll fly towards enemies, yeah. You attacking them or just hassling them, I guess? Maybe it's like to show who I'm locked onto, or... I'm not sure of the purpose of her hanging out there, but that's fine. You would think the whip would be better at, like, swiping against multiple opponents. Okay, I guess his down attack is with his gun, but the dude just got up too quickly. Alright. Like, the whole level design is also pretty different. You wouldn't really have linear hallways like this in the other games. Even when you have sections that are fully linear. Like, the shape of the rooms themselves, like, just do a split. Oh, that's a pretty slow attack. Oh yeah, right, this and shit. Wait, is there must be a floating... Yeah, there we go. Oh, these guys. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Okay, let's take care of this guy first. Ah, shit. Try to counter the arrow. Wait! You fucking left! I didn't realize they could leave. Oh well. Hey, that's... Hey, Maybe he just flew through. Yeah, I guess he didn't quite leave. Oh, man. That's bullshit. So confused. Oh, the camera. Did he just self-die? What the heck just happened there? I don't know what's going on here. Yeah, I know you can grab stuff. I know how it works. Successfully did it before to almost hit our son with a giant rock. Yeah, but see, like, you kind of toss it in a, like, perpendicular direction where you're facing, which is a bit... Well, take some learning, I guess. Okay, I'm assuming that's not going to help us right now. The down tech is cool, but it's extremely slow. It seems hard to use very well. Hey, that worked. Nice. Okay, yeah, so he is here. Oh yeah, that's like... It's like Onimusha 1. Samonosuke. That is interesting. So I guess, are we like in Onimusha 1? Except I guess he didn't really fight Nobunaga then. I'm not entirely clear on the timeline here. That's cool though. I actually like that design significantly better. But we'll see once we play as Samonosuke and get more armor. Well, souls, by the way, do not appear... Oh, I guess I don't know for a fact, but... They don't appear to be shared between the two. You're the man who showed up in Paris, aren't you? It's your fault I'm here. How do I come back home? What are you talking about? This guy over here is Samonosuke. Yeah, I mean, I guess they would be like post Onimusha 1. Because he didn't like die or whatever at the end, right? I don't remember how that game ended, but... Well, this shit's crazy, but I guess it's real. Samonosuke, what were you doing here anyway?
ここ比叡山は11年前に信長が焼き討ちを行って以来、玄馬が救う魔の山となっている。
Nobunaga-related activities. Oh, guess we gotta defeat Genma so I can go back home. Oh well, that's... Very well, let's go, whatever, fuck it. I gotta return to the future. Let's help each other. My name is Jacques Blanc. You can call me Jacques. Alright, that's pretty good. I like this. I mean, that was one of the things that I, Oh, okay. Things are old. The light tap should break them open. Okay, she's... Do I have to... Oh, okay. So she brings us stuff and I press circle. So what the heck is that? SA coat level. Oh, dude. I can level up his trench coat. That's gonna be pretty sick. I mean, we gotta focus on that first too. Healing item. Oh, okay. So this is to do with her. Interesting. I'm assuming we're gonna have to do this through the level up or the save stations, maybe? Not sure. Is there a figure of Jacques? I know there's can't remember if it was Medicom or Hot Toys. I know there was a 6th scale figure of Samanosuke when this game came out. There might have been one of Jacques. I don't remember. But there hasn't been like a ton of stuff. Like, I guess that's the thing, right? It's not just the games. Like, even when the games haven't been re-released, there's been plenty of like Resident Evil is just the simple point of comparison. Obviously, it's a much bigger series in so many different ways, but like the way the collectibles market works, like if it's something that's somewhat niche, it's not like you don't necessarily see it alongside the release of the thing. Like, it's pretty common to have you know, action figures from a movie come out like 2 or 3 years after the movie. That's not unusual at all. Or 15 years or 30 years for that matter. But like, if it's at that point, it's going to be like some kind of a classic thing, generally. So there could well have been other like statues and figures and stuff. But again, like with actor licenses, actors' likenesses and licensing stuff, I'm sure that gets a little bit more complicated, as like beyond someone just licensing the character from Capcom. Alright, okay, well, I guess we'll take a look when we get to a save station and see if we can do something. Oh, there was another box. More lore. Alright, we gotta... Oh, I guess we need to find... Interesting, okay. For her, I guess. So I can see the thing there. The lock... No? How do I make her... Oh, okay, do I have to... Oh, interesting. Oh, okay. So by inserting the gems or whatever, I guess it will increase the range. The range she can like find stuff or get stuff or whatever will increase. I'm not sure if I can take those out or how that works, but I guess she doesn't have enough range. I take this to also mean that we will come back with Jacques to that place in Paris so she can help me with that thing. But this is cool. Like, I've definitely... Well, I shouldn't say definitely, but as far as I know, I've never seen this far into the game before. So I had no idea that we would be, like, fighting side by side like this. I guess I figured once I knew about the time portal thing that we would have kind of 2 separate tracks. Oh, I guess you can grab it from here. Yeah, there we go. Nice. Okay. Don't have to leave it behind, at least. But I'm much happier about this because it's like, yeah, obviously you want the characters to kind of interact and hang out. It's typically preferable to just having 2 completely separate, like concurrent kind of campaigns. I mean, you can do interesting stuff with that too, of course, but if you have cool characters, it's generally, you know, nice to have them be able to interact.
こっちにもそれと同じものがハマっていたみたいだな。
ああ、そのようだ。先へ進む手がかりになるかもしれない。手分けして探そう。
わかった。
Alright, we gotta search for a way to open this thing up. So let's split up and search. Mysterious tower of some sort. It's a round hole for inserting something. Alright, let's find something to insert. Okay, so can I... Well, she, fly over there. Having to hold the button for like 2 seconds to open the map is kind of sucks. Well, let's actually take a look. Do I have... Well, yeah, we can do the training thing. Yeah, so defense and stance. We don't have to do them with him also. That's good. Okay, so here's the training for the grapple thing. Oh, yeah, this is the one. Okay, this is the other one. This is the charge attack. Oh, so direction plus button gives you different follow-up attack. Or you can throw them. Okay, let's try it out. Okay. It's gonna be like kind of slow. Yeah, you don't have like great control over the direction of it, I feel like. You don't have like full 360-degree control or anything. You just kind of do it forwards or backwards. But because you can kind of approach from any angle, it's gonna be relative to that as well. That's cool, we're learning how it works. Love a movie. I don't know, I find it hard to be too excited about the prospect of movie adaptations of games. But that said, you know, obviously I think there's a lot of, like, the imagery in some of these games with the locations and the fantastic nature. Like, I was super into what I saw in Onimusha 2. It reminded me a lot of Buichi Terasawa's comics. And I love those, and I love that kind of imagery, and seeing that imagery realized, whether it's in a game or a movie or comics. It's still cool shit. Oh, what the heck? I guess the thing is with stuff like this, the like with games in general, like I find it hard to be too enthused about the concept of a live-action movie because obviously in a movie you lose anything to do with interactivity, which is kind of the point of a game. And making something like live action tends to be like a way to make something look less exciting and less interesting. I was thinking about, like, I got into some kind of, not an argument, I replied to someone on Twitter, but how, like, this kind of pursuit of legitimacy and how, like, fantastical stuff, like, if you want to be serious, which is kind of true in games too, like, the kind of prestige, like Sony first-party games and stuff, like, going for that, like, AAA vibe, like, it sort of just requires it to be this realistic look because that's what people associate with big games. And, you know, you see this kind of people, like, recreating shit in Unreal Engine, or people making, like, ZBrush fan art of video game characters in, like, a more realistic style and whatever. I mean, that's a fan art kind of thing, that's cool, but, like, we talked about Street Fighter 6 at some point. Like, that's a game I'm anxious to find out what it's going to be and what it's going to look like. What I would want from a game like that would be for it to look like 90s Capcom artwork. I don't want it to look like a higher fidelity version of Street Fighter V, or even less something that has like a realistic kind of look to it. And I think by making something more kind of realistic, it can potentially like take a lot of just sort of sucked that unique vibe out of it. That's not to say you couldn't do it. Like, it's just hard for me to get excited about the idea of it. But you know, speaking of Onimusha 2 in particular, the cool stuff in that game that I thought was like really sick, you know, a lot of it came from the designs of the artist who designed a lot of this stuff, who coincidentally has also been involved in producing a lot of TV shows and movies that has all that kind of shit in it. I mean, maybe not to quite the level of spectacle as we saw in Onimusha 2. But I mean, you look up like Hokkaido or Zeiram, or I mean, even Garo to a degree, like those shows and movies have some like fucking insanely sick creature designs and characters and weapons and stuff. And that's like, compared to a modern a modern movie, like done on a shoestring budget, you can still make it look cool. So the thing is, like, yes, you can make something cool, but I also feel like chances are, in order to make something, like, in a hypothetical scenario where Capcom would sort of bankroll an Onimusha movie, in order to make that kind of investment worthwhile, they would probably feel the need to make something really big. And to make it really big, they would have to sand off all of those kind of rough edges, or, you know, I don't mean rough edges as a bad way, I'm just meaning like they would have to polish it to a sheen where all the idiosyncrasies and what's special about it is kind of gone. I mean, I haven't seen the movie, but like Monster Hunter, right? Or the Resident Evil movies, or, you know, any video game movie or any comic book movie or whatever it is, like, rarely, if ever, do you really get the full kind of personality of what that is, because if you need to sell it to a larger audience, you have to make it kind of as inoffensive as possible, I feel like. So it's not that you couldn't make something that has the vibe of Onimusha 2, I just think it wouldn't realistically happen, I suppose. Or at least if it were to happen, I have very little faith in it being done the way I would want it to be done. I mean, yeah, like, I think you would kind of need it to be... I mean, honestly, how fucking sick would it be to have this kind of full-on tokusatsu vibe, like, have it look like Kamen Rider or Garo or something. You have these, like, rubber suit monsters and these, like, martial arts fights, like, that would be fucking awesome. But, I feel like if it were to happen, it would be something far more bland and polished and, like, four-quadrant appealing kind of thing. Which is, again, I don't mean to say, like, you're stupid for wishing for it or anything. From a personal standpoint, I just feel like, I don't know, I don't spend a lot of time thinking of those kinds of things, because the movie industry hasn't given me a lot of reason to be excited about that concept. Alright. So there's gonna be demon bugs? Is that what that means? Mushi? I don't know. To find them in hidden treasure boxes and whatnot. And you can use them, I guess, to swing across gaps and whatnot. Yes. Oh, nice. Listen, thank you very much. There we go. Atomic Runner, how is the game so far? Enjoyable. Oh, dude, I just realized, just as the screen... Let's go back. We have a glorious pre-rendered background there on the right. Nice pre-rendered cliffs, which actually look a little bit kind of ghetto, but that's fine. It's interesting. It's in a lot of ways quite a departure from the previous games. clearly go up there. Maybe we'll come back across here. Mostly I'm finding myself fascinated with the graphics and how this is presented. Obviously, it's a very different style with the real-time environments. So, like, there's a lot of, like, most, if not all of the kind of specific things that really tickled me and had me excited about the visuals of the first two games are kind of absent here, because that was pretty much all founded on the pre-rendered style and everything, right? And obviously this game doesn't have that, so it's not going to have any of the specific appeal. Okay, so there's the thing down there, but I guess I need to level up her range before she can get it. The specific appeal of those games, or I just fly down there. So, oh yeah, I got the, right, okay, I was like, what's the point of this? I was like, yeah, we got the shield. So I can insert that in the statue. And you know, I was already, even before we had finished Onimusha 2, I was kind of lamenting, like, how that game looked so awesome, and it made me wish for more games with that sort of the pre-rendered style and see how that could be pushed further. But knowing that, like, yeah, in 2002, that shit was on its way out. And here we are, 2004, and it's a different style. That said, this game has a lot of interesting visual tricks and techniques and just high technical and artistic level of execution in the graphics to be appreciated and impressed by in their own right. The controls are a little different, so it has a little bit, like, I think this these games never felt like Resident Evil. I compared them a little bit more maybe to Dino Crisis, but even then, like, you have a slight bit of that vibe, of course, with the camera angles, the movement, the hand controls. Even though Samanosuke, well, and Jubei, the characters move more swiftly and smoothly. You have the auto lock on and all that kind of stuff. Like, I think still this game leans into that aspect more, and the camera helps with that in a way. And the controls, like, the entire game gets slightly pushed more in the action game direction. I mean, the other games were action games, but more in more typical action game direction. I don't know, it's hard to find the words exactly to describe what I mean. But it all adds up to something that is familiar and faithful, but ever so slightly different. There we go. Now we can cut these things. I think definitely so far the environments are technically really well executed in terms of the graphics. Need to do that. But we haven't really seen much to get too excited about in terms of the like what's going on here. Well, I guess I could backtrack. Not that far, right? I mean, I'm probably never gonna have enough, like, reason to backtrack again, so let's do it real quick. Because we passed by some other... Oh, assuming I can, actually. Ouch. Fucking archers. Can't fucking hit jack shit. I'm on the stairs. But I'm hoping that the game is just starting a little modestly, and eventually we'll get to some wilder shit. Because I feel like we're sort of back to Onimusha 1 levels of I don't want to say bland, because it's still super well executed and very pretty to look at. But conceptually, like the kind of scenes and what's going on is not as wild, and even like not everything in Onimusha 2 was like completely crazy, but it had an otherworldly feel to it, and a kind of anachronistic feel to it, for that matter. That was just kind of interesting. And meanwhile, we've seen 2 blocks of Paris streets, and we've seen about, you know, equivalent amounts of medieval Japanese forests. Eyeball thing. Well, they're not eyeballs, they're a big floating pile of skulls, but... He keeps flying into the terrain in a way that's really fucking annoying. You know, these guys, they're annoying to fight in every... Dude, I want to just hit the plants. Stop locking on to other enemies. The fact that you can just not... I can't lock onto the plants, no. Okay. I have to like stand here and auto lock onto some other enemy. So bizarre. Like, you have a lock on button. I don't understand why the game needs to have you lock on when you don't press the lock on. Anyway. Ooh. Key. Maybe we actually even needed to go here. I'm sure we'll find good use for that. I'm having an easier time with Essence, intentional or not, in this game. Hard to say how much of it is me and how much of it is the game functioning a little different. But it feels overall like the game is... No. I want to fucking lock onto this bird. I felt at the beginning, at least, that it seems like enemies kind of went down quicker. I'm not sure if that's the case. Maybe it's just like there's more of them, so the pace is a little bit different. Okay, this is interesting. Hey, okay, Demon Gauge. So, I guess the inventories are totally separate. Because, yeah, we didn't get the... Yeah, so I guess I can just freely use this. Why not? But yeah, I think for sure, like... the pre-rendered background stuff is sort of emblematic of it, but it's not the only example. Like, it doesn't begin and end with them. So clearly it looks like you could kind of go there, but I don't have like a jump button or anything. In how Onimusha 1 and 2 feel like type of game that doesn't exist anymore, or isn't being made. And I mean, games that have this kind of structure and flow and combat, they aren't exactly like, this doesn't feel like a 2021 action game either. This also feels like something from a different era in a way. But I think it is something that is closer to a current kind of sensibility in a way. And I think it feels closer to something that there were more games of, or at least, I don't know. I guess Onimusha 1 and 2 are kind of both games of that kind of Resident Evil, Alone in the Dark, Dino Crisis, whatever style. But they were kind of at the very tail end of those kind of games. Like, it's sort of... There aren't really any more polished or refined examples. Not in the kind of mainstream, at least. Whereas, you know, obviously not to say that this is unpolished or unrefined. This feels like it's a type of game that is in a more direct lineage to, you know, something like Devil May Cry, which have had sequels up until DMC5, which is like, in terms of the flow and the controls and the camera and how it's presented and the, like, it's closer to this than anything I can think of is to Onimusha 2, you know? So, in a sense, even if it's not exactly fair or like through no fault of the game itself, just through sheer happenstance of how the industry kind of in the market developed in the, you know, 20 years that, you know, since the first Onimusha game. I think the first two games have become, you know, not better games necessarily at all, but like more interesting relics of their time than this has. Not a judgment of the game, of course, but just an observation. So to me, I think I can imagine someone playing this in 2004 and kind of instantly being like, yeah, this is fucking sick. This is so much cooler and better than the other two. Let's try again. I think I was maybe facing the wrong way there. But my first impression coming to it this much later is like, I don't know, it's not giving me that same... Like, damn, this is unique and cool, and wow, how refreshing to play something like this vibe the way 1 and 2 did. But it should be mentioned that 2, you know, it had a bunch of cutscenes, you walk around the village, it's a little bit confusing, there's a bunch of NPCs and shit, like, there were things early in Onimusha 2 that I also didn't know what to make of. But by the time we got to the end, I was pretty in love with it, you know? So it would be unreasonable and meaningless to even try to, like, judge this so far. Anything beyond the very surface first impression, you know? And the first impression isn't bad, it's just, it's so different that I'm not exactly sure what to make of it. Although it is super cool in a lot of ways, and like, again, I think the art, like, it's unfair and a little bit unfortunate to this game that I was so enamored with the kind of specifics of the first two games, because this is a little bit unable to compete. But this game still looks fucking awesome and has a lot of cool shit going on in its own right that is very easy to appreciate. Alright, so we have one more of these. Is this... There we go. Oh, so now she can actually equip it. I see. So we have to, like, juice it up before she can even equip... Oh, now she's all bright blue. Okay, so she's supposed to have a longer range now. Let's see what that... how that helps us. But, you know, this, in a way, this also does help me get a little bit excited for other, like, PS2 Capcom games and the like, where I would have games where I maybe don't, you know, where there's not the same kind of baggage and association with previous games in the series looking a certain way or doing a certain thing. Okay, 4 moves. That's not gonna work. Oh, that's not gonna work. So obviously... I hate sliding puzzles, so I'm really bad at them. So instead of like trying to figure it out, I'm just like testing a different route and seeing. There we go. Oh shit. Okay. Life extension. Oh yeah, because like Samanosuke is here, but that's not the same Samanosuke as the one that we're upgrading, so there's no, like, he wouldn't get this or anything. Alright. So we're not... I mean, yeah, this looks pretty ominous, so I should. And also, I mean, yeah, we've got a little bit of the spooky clouds, and the, you know, the sky looks really sick. Like, we're getting somewhere. This isn't like fully generic forest. This is, we've got a little bit of atmosphere here for sure. I mean, more than a little. There's a very thick atmosphere here, and this is really fucking cool. But it's still, you know, it's monster, demon, goop stuff. Like, it doesn't get as weird as a lot of the stuff in Onimusha 2. I hope it still will. I have the coat and the gauntlet and the fire whip. Okay. But we'll... so yeah, I guess this would put me a bit over 2/3. Yeah. Well, actually a little... not quite 2/3, rather. Well, let's see. I think they changed it, or maybe it's just my brain. I think in the second game you had to, like, switch it over from no to yes. And here I'm doing that by instinct, and I'm going from yes to no on the overwrite prompt. But didn't manage to fuck up saving yet, at least.
明智殿、こそこそ嗅ぎ回って貴殿はネズミですか。
誰だ貴様。
Interesting.
織田家近習頭森蘭丸。
I was a little bit surprised, I'll admit, when Samanosuke killed Ranmaru in like 2 seconds in the intro.
お前は人間だな。なぜあんな化け物の味方をしている？
You're human. Why are you helping those
それ
monsters?
はここで死ぬあなたたちには関係のないこと。
Pretty cool.
サマノスケ、光秀殿の謀反の企み、上様はすでにご承知ですよ。
I mean, we're not very far into the game, and I guess technically this is like the second boss fight. That's pretty cool. Oh, I blocked that. Pretty cool, you can grab even these guys. Oh, nice, okay. This looks breakable. Oh, I was like, oh, these look breakable, but I can't fucking attack any other direction than directly towards him. Oh, I can do that, I guess. I don't know if that helped, but... Okay, it's kind of neat. Yeah, I'm definitely a little perplexed by the whole... There's a lock on, but also, like, locking on doesn't really make a difference. Oh yeah, if I die now, I go into fucking demon mode. That's... I guess I'll just do that forever, just hold on to them. Yeah, Keita Amamiya did not work on this. Well, that's kind of difficult, I feel like. Having someone like that for like the one entry. But yeah, that was kind of my first feeling, just like... like, I hope this game... I hope some of that influences manages to live on through the series. Because even like playing 2, I figured, like, yeah, that shit's not going to continue in the sequels, I'm sure. Or at least like specifically hiring the same person, same people.
おっさんの息子だったね。わかったよ。あたい、おっさんが無事なのを伝えてきてあげる。
何
And I think the jury's still out on that. We'll see. I don't think it's going to be quite as has that same vibe or be as weird, but I hope we get. I hope it at least won't feel like a total departure into something far more bland. Like even in 2, it was definitely a gradual thing. The more we got into the whole, like, when we got to Onigashima and the weird factory sections, and you know, you had the full gutsification of the castle and some stuff like that too, but it's more like the mechanical stuff. Okay, so she's traveling between the time periods. Interesting.
なんだお前は。
何言ってんだよ。
Yeah, so I'm curious to see
そっか。
if this game can live up to that. It's a tall order for sure.
さっきのサマノスケとは違うんだ。もうややこしいな。
Just confused about
あたいはアコ。
this Samanosuke being different.
戦国時代からやってきたんだよ。
I came from the Sengoku era to help you. I guess this is going to be so confusing to keep track of. I guess he just destroyed the robot on the roof, and then he came back down here.
じゃあ、あれは本当のことだったの。
It's true. Whatever. Monsters. But yeah, like in the manual, she's like almost the only
あたいのおかげだよ。
like side character. Oh yeah, she's like, oh shit, I can understand you. Like, yep, that's all me.
サマノスケ。
She makes everyone speak Japanese.
元の時代へは戻れないよ。
何
You have to defeat all the Genma here in Paris before I can bring you home.
向こうでゲンマと戦ってくれてるんだ。ジャックですって。
Jacques is he's taking her place back home, fighting Genma over there. So I guess she's gonna be our partner character here. And young Samanosuke is Jacques' partner. That's kind of interesting. Kind of interesting. I mean, I'm guessing that's gonna be the thing, because I mean, she's here, obviously.
そうね。けど、ジャックが戦国時代の日本にいるなんて。
もう一人の俺と一緒にか信じがたい話だな。
Like, Jacques is stuck in Sengoku era Japan, huh? And someone else is like, yeah, and it's fighting alongside another version of me. That's a lot to take in. Like, yep, it sure is.
奴らが
あなたに化け物退治を頼んでもいいのかしら。仲間が助けを呼んでるのよ。
Like,
もちろんだ。
Samanosuke, can I
じゃあついてきて。
I trust you to help out. Of course. But dude, like, he's already fucking 10 minutes in. Well, 2 hours or whatever, including chit-chatting. He's like so much more charismatic than Jubei in the second game. He's like such a fucking dour, tough guy. Like, yeah, I like Samanosuke a lot better. Like, there's not a ton to his personality either, but just his disposition. He's a little sunnier, you know. Oh yeah, yeah. So she's hanging out. So yeah, I was literally just commenting on the fact that just looking at the manual, like the character introduction, there's like some other dude who looks like some. Let me dig this up real quick. Yeah, there's Samanosuke and Jacques, and then there's Michelle. Oh, hello. Let me pause real quick. There is Ennui and what's her name? Aki? Is that how you read that? Let me double check here. Ako. Okay, that makes sense, yeah. And then there's this fella down here. And like then that's it. That's it. I mean there's the bad guys. There's Nobunaga, Ranmaru, and Guildenstein. And that's a little it. That's all the characters who we are introduced to. And there might be some other antagonists who I mean, hopefully we would get something along the lines of a Gorgon Dantes. Maybe that's Ranmaru. You know, he's gonna. And I'm thinking about it for 2 seconds. Yeah, probably. So, even though you have like a slightly smaller kind of ensemble, I like the fact that it's kind of established now that in Jacques' campaign, so to speak, Jacques and I'm confused over whether I should call him young Samanosuke or old Samanosuke because it's like older time period, but he's younger, so let's call him young Samanosuke. And we have current Samanosuke and Michelle. So I take it that like it'll be interesting to see how things converge at the end. I'm sure there'll be something, but it gives like each side of the story has like the two characters that are presumably going to be like, yeah, you'll have parts where you don't interact, but I feel like you're probably presumably spending more time together than alone. I'm trying to fucking parry over here. Fuck it then. Oh, she got something from me. That's kind of neat. Did we get a key for this? Well, there's something over here. Oh. Oh wait, I guess we're heading into the sewers. That's a good start. Oh. Start is the right word. We've been going for a while. It's pretty satisfying. I'm a little confused or unsure on whether the like block, parry, or riposte, whatever. I wonder if that was in the other games that I just never kind of realized. You get a lot of fucking healing items, by the way. These two gamma, so dark. Dude, okay, whatever. Did I just get nothing for that? Oh, she's, I don't know, she's, is there a doorway here? The door, probably locked. No? I mean, I feel like Navi's, like, defining characteristic as being annoying. Akko is very much in the background, and also she has personality. I don't know, she reminds me a lot more of Friday from Landstalker more than anything. Also, I never really played Ocarina of Time. I tried playing it like 3 times, got super bored with it and gave up pretty quickly every time I tried playing it. I don't think I played it enough to get annoyed by Navi. Last time I tried to play it would have been probably 20 years ago anyway, so. A big ass joystick here. Alright, power's out, we need to get it back on. Man, the graphics are really fucking good. Like, the art is really fucking good in this. Even the characters, like, again, because it's all like real time, The character models aren't as detailed as in the other games, but there's still so much of it that just looks really, really good. It makes me really excited to play more PS2 games, more Capcom games. Actually, let's hang on. I don't think I have any more, no. Oh, fuck it. But it's tantalizingly close to new armor. I mean, the Onimusha controller would be fun to have, but I'm sure it's not cheap. I mean, I'm a big fan of gimmick controllers in general, albeit usually more in the sense of games that are designed for particular controllers. But even, I guess, there's a great appeal to controls that are just gimmicky for the sake of being gimmicky. And I think the Onimusha and RE4 controllers are pretty much the height of that. I mean, the Onimusha controller probably even more so, because at least the Resident Evil GameCube controller has like two handles. Like it's basically a GameCube controller with an entire chainsaw kind of stuck onto it. Whereas the Onimusha controller is like a sword, right? It's like a stick. Gee, can you shoot this thing off me? It's making me spin. Worth fighting these, to be honest. Get out of here. Probably just defend these guys. Easier said than done. Fine that time. Worked it out. Map. Okay, that's the way we're headed, I guess. The room layouts overall, I feel like, are quite... What's that in the ceiling? Alright. Gotta activate this someplace else. Yeah, there was a ladder. She's like not gonna die or anything, I'm sure. I don't think, I hope at least, we don't have to worry about friendship points in this game. Okay, well, thing here. Note. Do we get fucking RE puzzles here? So left, number one is number of chairs. The center thing is number of tape recorders, like boom boxes, whatever, rajikase. And the right is number of monitors. So I'm assuming these, we should count these, and that's some kind of a password thing. Nice charge attack. Onibudo training. I need to insert something. I didn't like collect anything for this, right? Alright, let's... Well, thank you. Oh, avoid that. Sick. Michelle being quite helpful here. Yeah, we talked about that at length previously. There was a Onimusha 2 line of figures. Oh shit. Crap. Box. Is that a doll? weird to hit. That worked, I guess. I'm confused. But hey, we're at full health, so that's good. Yeah, I don't remember. There was like a Jubei figure, and there was a Gorgon Dantes figure. I think there probably was a Nobunaga figure. I don't remember. But I do remember like seeing them at the time, because they, McFarlane put out a bunch of... They did a line of Metal Gear Solid... yeah, they did Metal Gear Solid 1 also, actually. I mostly remember the MGS2 figures, but I think they did MGS1. And some like anime stuff, and yeah, they were branching out in some different interesting territories beyond just like, because the Spawn figures were first, of course, and then like the movie Maniacs stuff was pretty soon after that, I think. But they also did like musical artists, and they did a shit ton of sports figures. But even that, I think, was probably, well, maybe I was gonna say a little bit later, but maybe not. Oh, okay. So, of course, she's traveling between time periods, so her equipment doesn't change. That makes perfect sense. I was like confused for a second there. Or rather, I figured like, oh yeah, cool. Now I can get her upgraded for Samanosuke as well. But yeah, she keeps that. Okay, so that's her blue coat, which increases the distance that she can gather. Oh wait, does this make... Oh, yeah. Does she gather souls for me? I didn't even realize that, I don't think. Oh. So when you have this equipped, enemies will only drop red orbs. So this makes you gain XP faster at the expense of not filling up your health or demon gauges. So if you don't, like, need... Yeah, this seems like a good thing to use. Unless you're, like, in need of health. Oh yeah, we got... Kinda cool that it highlights new stuff. But, it's lore, you know. Kinda skip out. Well, I assume... And yeah, also, I think it said that you'll only get red orbs, but I think it also said that the number of orbs in general increase. Or souls, whatever. So I would assume that if you do an Isen, the effect is applied on that as well. I mean, we should see if it's immediately apparent. Yeah, nothing happens. There's no power here. Okay, so... Well, thank you. Thank you for being a friend. Okay, cool. Is there someplace else I could go? Or... They make you like spin around. Load. I don't know, Michelle's pretty cool. She's been killed these dudes off screen for us last time. See? Alright, so grab this. And then we'll switch back. Maybe we need to go back to that first room, because now that we got the lore, the thing about the like the number stuff, I think that first room with the power switch is like the only room I can think of that had monitors. I'm thinking it was like referring to that, maybe. So is there anything else we could do here or change? 'Cause there's... Yeah, so there's one cassette player. There's 3 chairs. And, I mean, there were at one point at least 4 monitors. So that, I mean, that the, like, combination is 314? Combination of what is the question? I think we might have enough for the armor now. Possibly. Yeah, probably, actually. Yeah, nice. Sick. Got our first armor upgrade. Alright, alright. The image looked like it was kind of beige and dull, but it looks kind of cool. It's like gold. It's like that armor upgrade in the first game, actually, where you get gold armor. I may have made a terrible mistake, just like in the last time when I couldn't figure out the using the wind power to power up the fan by failing to read. Okay, yeah. After Michelle activated the thing, it's moving. On a mesh circle here on stuff we can interact with. So the note that we picked up, I'm assuming we still would have here somewhere. Oh yeah, we got the charge attack thing. We can do that, I guess. Sousain no memo. Yeah, like, I guess this means, yeah, in control room number 1, number of chairs, number of tape players, number of monitors. That should be 314. And there was that machine up there, but it seemed to imply that we need to use some kind of item with it. Maybe I misinterpreted it. Either way, we were expected to kind of go back to confirm that, I suppose. Because we can't really, there's like nowhere else. I mean, yeah, I can backtrack, but... Wait, there's a ladder... The ladder that I see on the map here looks like that leads to an upper floor? Bridge to this side? Oh no, okay, well it's a lower floor I guess, but there's the ladder, but I can't reach it from here. I think you'd be able to climb on over it, but... Oh, but there's a doorway... Okay, I don't think I actually... Well... I didn't check it, but I don't know if I'm not positive that I can actually get to it. There would be a doorway over here? I guess I didn't even fucking see this thing. Alright, well... There's our combination thing. Where's this? Oh, we did go here. I just kind of... Yeah, I literally just missed that door in the center. Okay, well, there we go. I was gonna say, he didn't fucking lock it after himself, did he? I don't know. I need... Ah, there we go. Okay. Puzzle box. That's not gonna help us, is it? There's something about, like, the... I used to have, when I was a kid, I had, like... I don't know, I think we had a few... Maybe we just had the one, like, sliding puzzles, like this. Which is, you know, the numbers, 1 through 15. Or, Yeah. I was still trying to think, wait, how many? Yes, because there's 16, it's like 4x4, so there's one empty one, of course. So there's 1 through 15, you just sort them in order. And I used to actually really enjoy that as a kid. But I think the reason why I'm like so terrible and I hate doing these in video games is because there is a strong disconnect for me. Like when I can physically push the tiles around, I kind of understand what's going on. But in games, I always get there's something about, there's just some kind of mental disconnect when I'm like moving the gap around versus pushing the tiles. At least having a cursor like this is far better than just tapping the D-pad to just make it move, because whenever I have that, I always feel like the controls are backwards. But I think that just, there's something like vaguely traumatic about it that just... See, I'm just, can't fucking do it. I have to, like, just randomly push. Well, not randomly, but, like... Oh, this is interesting. It's more about the order rather than like how I'm actually moving things around. That's exactly what I did. Somewhat stumped here. I'm sure it's... So... This one, like, I have to get that up there, I would think. That, okay. There we go. Finally, the dots were connected inside my brain, and we get a little more demon gauge for our trouble. Nice. And there's the ladder. Oh boy, it's fucking pitch black. Can't see shit. Oh, it looks kind of cool though. I guess these are the fish dudes from the same enemies as in 2 that appeared in that one forest where we were stuck playing Kotaro for like 2 hours. I was an idiot. Probably what we need. I just want to check for something over here. Sounds like Aqua found something for us. Hey. Probably pretty good. Michelle's gonna keep that dude busy. That's fine by me. She's actually very helpful in just drawing enemy fire. Ah, there we go. Fucking crank handle. You know, sewer levels isn't exactly what I was thinking. Like playing Onimusha 2. Like, you know what? You know what this game needs? Generic sewers. As far as generic inner city sewers go, like, these are very well done. But at the end of the day, you know, they're still sewers. I mean, you got shit like this. That certainly helps. Iron handle. It's funny how this is like, in some ways, the most action-y of the games. Just the kind of pacing and the camera, like it has a little more of a dynamic feel to it. Maybe it's just the juxtaposition of that. But I feel like this game has like a more emphasis on Resident Evil style puzzles than the others. Like I said, you know, maybe it's not that different, but it feels different because the contrast between the finding items and using them. Like the first game certainly had locks and keys. But I don't remember that being a big thing in the second one, really. There was like the occasional thing like that, like in the Yagyu village, home, whatever, when you had the chart with different, like the animal gods things, stuff like that. But I feel like there's a bunch of it here. Is this the way to the bridge? I think so. Like, I don't know. This is not the most exciting level, just the sewer level. What's even a good way of dealing with these? I don't know how I can deal with those enemies standing in the explosion. Every now and then I feel like I don't want to, like, spend these 10 seconds saving, which is no big deal, but it just feels slightly tedious. But I know that if shit goes bad, you know, I'm gonna be thankful that I saved. Electric arrows. Okay. You just got lightning bolts stuck to them. So I assume I have to climb up to drop this giant fucking wrecking ball on something. But just to be... Take a look here first, real quick. Oh, there's a bunch of... No, it's just trash. I was gonna say a bunch of fish people, but no, it's just trash. I assume... Yeah. Big pile of trash, can't move past it. Oh, see, she found something. I'm gonna guess. And by guess, I mean justify my own... obstinate... you know, fiddliness. And say that she probably wouldn't have collected that if we had done this first. What did he say? Alright, locked with a special key. I can't open it. Yeah, it's a chain. Well, not for long. Or not. Am I winning? Well, we're making progress, more or less. Wait, hang on. Wait. It's like, surely I'm supposed to slash this? Maybe I just missed, I don't know. Well, this perplexes me a little bit. I didn't, like... Did I collect a key that I could use here? No, it doesn't look like it. Looks like a military kind of thing. Maybe she could open it, but I guess she's not coming up here. She definitely has a tendency of getting in the way in these narrow walkways. Monsters, help! Roger, we'll be right there. Gotta hurry. Save our friends. Alright, sure. Well, I guess I should have saved. Oh, fuck it. We'll make it to the next save point. I assume I can climb over this perfectly smooth sphere more easily than I can climb over a pile of trash. Can we help each other here? Yeah, we can. Cool. Hey, what's up, Joestar? Honestly, it wasn't so much a factor of not being able to resist playing it. More that I couldn't be bothered to think of anything else to play. I didn't really have time to come up with something. I mean, I knew I wanted to play it, of course. But I figured... The thing is, it wasn't so much that after finishing 2 I didn't want to play this. I figured that after having finished 2 that I wouldn't feel like playing this. Oh, it's pretty cool. I guess we can see the light from their gunfire over there. But if I was gonna, like, the whole idea was to come up with something, a little palate cleanser in between. It was a little defeated the purpose a little bit if it ended up being more effort to think of something to do for that. So that's kind of how it went. Hey, what's up, Lemisar? Thank you for the kind words. And I agree. I hope everyone's doing well. It's been a generally somewhat stressful couple of weeks for me, and a kind of particularly stressful day today. But okay, so it's in the ceiling again. I don't know. I feel like I'm gonna have to come back here. I can still push this, which seems to imply to me that I should push this. Yeah, see, there's a thing over there. Oh, this is a spirit soul juice refill, demon, whatever, I think. Actually, let's just double check that real quick. No, this is a health refill. Okay. Damn, fucking everything. I feel like I barely ever had this much health items in the other games. We're like drowning in them right now. Who's this? Oh, it's just a samurai from Japan. He's an expert on these things. Okay, well, anyway, thanks for helping. Dude, that's the shit I can appreciate. These fucking special forces fighting demon, like Japanese ancient demons. And this like samurai dude shows up. And he's like, what's going on here? Oh, this is samurai. He's just here to help. He's an expert on these things. Oh, okay. Yeah, sure. Makes sense. Like, yes, thank you. Don't, like, play it that straight. Don't make a bigger deal out of it. You know, makes perfect sense. Ooh, so is that a military key that we can use to open a box? A 4-centimeter long key. Or maybe it's... We're gonna find out. Yeah, there's a small keyhole. And we got a health increase. Power stone. Yes, thank you. It's so weird. The extension itself, the animation for your life bar extension is so fast. It feels like weirdly unceremonial when you extend the life bar. Still a good upgrade, obviously. Just playing Code Veronica. Yeah, that's a game I could never really get into. Like, I loved the first Resident Evil, and the RE remake is like an absolute masterpiece. Maybe one of my favorite games of all time. Like, such a perfection of that formula. But there's a bunch of RE games I never could quite really get into. This looks so good. Yeah, like RE3, I just didn't really dive with. Yeah, I picked that up previously. Yeah, it's like, oh, that's Jack's phone. It wasn't Jack. I keep calling him Jack because it's just written that way, but Jacques. Yeah, it was his son, Henri. This is a thing that you can talk with. Alright, let's go to Jacques' house. Always worried. Well, I bet. I'm sure he's seen what's going on. That's a pretty fucking swanky place. That's a good photo. I got Code Veronica I don't know if it was like when it was new on Xbox, but I have it on. Actually, I guess it's probably playable on the current Xbox, I think. But I got like the whatever HD version of that, and I was impressed with where's my dad? She's like, about that. This is Samanosuke. He's a samurai. He came here from Japan. Okay. Yeah, Jacques went far away and won't be able to come back for a while. Where'd he go?
あたいはカラス天狗のアッコさ。ジャックは500年前の日本よ。
Oh, Jacques in Japan 500 years ago.
アンリ、よく聞いて。実はね。
Okay, wait, listen carefully. This shit's a lot to take in.
すぐには帰ってこられないけど。
But hey, if I've learned anything from any kind of Power Rangers show, the kids are alright. They're the ones you can trust.
元気出して、アンリ。
They'll accept this shit at face value.
なんかあの二人うまくいってないみたいね。よし、アンリにも会えたし、あたいジャックのところへ戻るわ。
よろしく伝えといてくれ。
Alright, time to go back to Jacques. So I guess that's our cue. I guess we're going to be following Akko. Which is actually kind of cool because, like, from her point of view, this is like a linear time progression, right? Yeah, always alright.
可愛いだろ。
けど、ミシェルとはうまくいってないみたいだね。
That's pretty cool. I'm starting to get into like the storytelling approach here. Because I was a little bit concerned with the sort of parallel narratives. That can be something really tricky to pull off well. But it also gives me the feeling that the game's probably going to keep up with this rate of like cutscenes and dialogue and stuff. This could only exist in my time. How's this? Danmaru escaped, I guess?
ここに堺の商人の印がある。南蛮の取引をしている港
Yeah,
町。
this is like merchandise.
港町か。よし。そこへ向かう。
Alright. From some Minato Machi, literal South Town. I'm going to South Town. Yeah, I don't know. I think that we'll I mean, hold off in judgment, of course, and we'll see if shit gets really crazy by the end. But I feel like this game, it seems at this point as if we're not likely to see much of this particular flavor of weirdness from Onimusha 2, which is unfortunate. But we're still going to get that level of Capcom polish and sheen. And there's still going to be some amount of style and personality to things. We got kind of Onimusha 2 style village with NPCs, I guess. Running around with a sword, all casual. Hirashai! We got plenty of rare things for sale, stranger, I guess. But anyway, yeah. A little sidetracked there by the plot. I just could not get into Code Veronica. I appreciated the... I like the HD version, kind of how they did it. Like, the visuals were kind of cool in that it was... They made some changes to it, but they kind of overhauled the lighting and stuff, but it still felt faithful. Not specifically to the original, because I haven't really played it, so I guess I wouldn't be able to tell, but faithful to that kind of era and style of visuals. But I just couldn't really get into it. I mean, I have RE0 as well, the HD version. I probably have it on... I think I got it on PS Plus. I may have bought it, and then I may have gotten it on PS Plus, and then I may have it on Xbox or Steam, or I feel like I have different versions of it. I have a bunch of RE games that I just haven't gotten around to playing, like the Revelations games and stuff like that. Like, I would say I like RE in general, but I've finished a bunch of the games, but I've also fallen off of some of them. But yeah, I guess, you know, if I were making an effort to play through them like I am doing with this, like, it'd be a different context. Because, I mean, when I bought it and I played it, I just played it. And, like, the thing is, I remember specifically falling off it because I played it and then I got killed by some enemy that killed me in a really cheap way. And I was like, ugh. And I turned it off. And I didn't plan it that way, but I ended up just never playing it again. So if that hadn't happened, then maybe I would have finished it. A small thing like that, but if I was playing on stream, I wouldn't have just quit. I wouldn't have just ended the stream because I got annoyed. You know, I would keep playing. So it's always different how. And I mean, that's the thing about streaming too. I like it because it sort of helps me. In a lot of cases, it makes me more patient, or more like it gives me a bit of an objective or a goal with playing something beyond just playing it for the sake of it. You know, generally speaking, of course, I enjoy playing the games I play, and I get something out of just playing it, but it incentivizes for me a different way of playing things, in a way. And it gives me... it makes it so that I can't give up as easily, I feel like, you know? It's perhaps the most pointed thing to say about it, you know? When would I ever get around to playing the Onimusha games if I didn't do it on stream? Never, probably. I mean, I guess it kind of cuts both ways in a sense, because on the one hand, yes, I have so many games that I feel like, yeah, having the stream gives me the excuse to play this, and I wouldn't play it otherwise. And that's definitely true. That's definitely a thing. You know, for many years I had my collection and I didn't ever really bother playing anything until I started streaming. Yeah, forgetting to save and then losing progress. Yeah, that might have happened that time. I don't remember exactly, but for sure, I remember being killed kind of suddenly in a cheap way. That pissed me off. But nowadays, because I'm streaming in a regular way, I do kind of have the opposite thing happen as well, where I have something I will want to play, and I could play it off stream, but I have to save this for stream. I don't want to play this if I'm not playing it on stream. And now I have this kind of back catalog of PS2 games that I want to play. I end up kind of putting things off because, like, in this instance, I happened to just jump into Onimusha 3 right after finishing 2. But I could have easily gotten sidetracked by other stuff, like we did kind of between Onimusha 1 and 2. And I have games that I even started once, and then I just never get around to it. Like, Chase the Express is a game I keep coming back to. I really, really want to finish playing that game. I mean, obviously, there's Alice in Cyberland. That's the ever-present thing looming. But there's other games like that I've kind of started and would have liked to play through, but at the time, I think I also wasn't maybe disciplined isn't the right word, but patient. I don't know, I was very impatient and just wanted to kind of jump between things. I still am, but not quite the same extent. But it helps, of course, when games are really sick and it's fun to stick with them. But yeah, having some kind of context in which you're playing games makes it easier to kind of stick with them. It makes it more rewarding and fun in a way too. That's why I really enjoy doing like the Batman project, and I did like the Mortal Kombat stuff. We've done Double Dragon and Final Fight. Like, it's a fine balance to strike, because when you're committing to something like that, you can reach the point of it not being fun at some point. And if you're like, that's always the thing for me, that I'm very careful to avoid streaming and playing games to the point where I'm not enjoying myself. And sometimes I've felt in the past when I've had projects like that, like sometimes it just kind of makes it not like as fun as I want it to be, which makes it tough. And with something like Batman, you know, once we got towards the end, the games were so much longer. It was such a, like, it ended up being a little more of a slog. And that's why, like, I have other ideas for very similar projects that I mentioned previously. There's two in particular that I have, like, I have a lot of the games lined up. I have a almost complete list, and like I could hypothetically kickstart either one of those, like tomorrow. But I haven't because they're going to be probably multi-year projects. And it's a big commitment. And the thing is, with a lot of those, the very early games, you know, something similar to Batman, where these 80s games, they're pretty short and they're very simple. And you just like, you go through them and it's so much fun. And then you get to your Arkham Knights toward the end and it's like, ugh, it's like 8 streams of doing the same side missions and it just gets really tedious. Yeah, I mean, Final Fight Streetwise was by far the longest Final Fight game, but even that wasn't very, like, that wasn't bad at all. I mean, yes, the game's bad, but in terms of, I had fun throughout. That wasn't a big deal. Arkham Knight was more of a slog for sure. I mean, the Lego Batman stuff too, like, it's just knowing that once you finish a game, the next one is going to be longer, or about the same length. Like, you don't get this variety. And if you get something that isn't super fun, you knowing that you have to stick with it, like, yeah, that can be a little bit rough. And having this kind of project where you know that you might have 20 games that's going to be really fun to bounce around between, and then the last 20 or the last 10 are going to be like, even if they're fun games, just knowing that, like, oh yeah, that's my stream schedule for the next several months, just kind of blocked out. But I think if next year, for example, if I jump back into one of those projects, I think what I would probably do is I would probably dedicate one stream a week to not doing that, to like doing maybe even doing like one stream a week where I'm doing that and 2 streams that I'm doing other stuff. But depending on, like, once you get to that point where one game is going to require 30 hours of playtime, if I can only log 4 hours a week on that game, that's going to be a long time. I mean, I could adjust throughout, but like, yeah, the idea of doing 3 streams a week of exactly the same thing for months on end, if not years, that is, yeah, that's not super appealing to me. But I guess I would do something like that. So we'll see. Like I said, I have had some plans for a long time, and I've always just been feeling that, like, once I finished Batman, it was such a, I wanted to spend the foreseeable future not having something like that, but just doing what I feel like doing, like getting to all my backlog stuff and everything. So, but who knows? You know, maybe 2022 is when I start another big project like that. Of course, right now I'm like, dude, I'm getting into the, you know, into the swing of things with these PS2 games. I should keep going with Onimusha and you know, Shadow of Rome, whatever else I have, Samurai Western, Kamiwaza. I got Shinobi and Kunoichi. I mean, I started Altered Beast, but that game, I don't know. I would like to see more of it, but that seems like a slog for sure. Spy Fiction. Combat Queen. I mean, that's a pretty different type of game, but I still haven't played it, and I want to. What else? I mean, I don't know. I got a shit ton of PS2 games that I want to get to. So who knows? But it looks like for now, we're going to keep rolling, and once we finish Onimusha 3, maybe we just keep momentum up and jump straight into 4, or maybe not. We'll see. Anyway, I'm just realizing the time's ticking here. It's getting pretty close to 10 p.m., and I really got to make sure not to... Like, I've been sleeping not nearly enough this week, and I think that has contributed to my significant stress levels, so I need to make sure not to go overtime tonight. Anyway, we got the white coat. What does this do? Oh, shit. If you stand still, you can regain health. Seems powerful, but also kind of boring. We can't, like... I might as well not put these gems in here, because I don't have enough to like, unlock it anyway. Wristwatch. Okay. So I guess I should just find a... There's a door here, it looks like. Yeah. Guess we should just find a... Oh, that's where we found that thing. Right. Good. There is a save thing right outside here. Did I... yeah, I was gonna say, did I kill a boss and get a bunch of souls? No. Oh, okay, whoops. Accidental progression. Know anything about this watch? I haven't seen a thing. Just asking questions, bro. Told you I don't know. Get the hell out of here. All right, that's not suspicious at all. Yeah, that's the thing. I bought Shinobi and Kunoichi, both also, by the way, in that 06, 07 time frame. Brand new for, I think it was 500 yen each. It might even have been like 300 yen. Where'd that thing go? Oh, I have to climb up. And I played them for about, I don't know, not long. And yeah, they both seem pretty brutal. Very, very cool games, though. Yeah, it's not enough, because you can tell I've got a total of 5780. Just barely. Man, can't wait for a new coat. We'll save here. Yeah, whenever, like, when we did, like, the MJ Mystery Hospital in one sitting, like, that was so much fucking fun. Even, you know, we did Castlevania, the Game Boy Castlevania, and just ended up finishing that in a stream. I feel like I very rarely finish games in the first place on stream. So being able to do, like, a standalone stream of a game that isn't just fucking around, but, like, legit playing through a game from start to finish. It felt very good. But yeah, guys, we'll leave it there. Good progress. We didn't get really stuck on anything, I don't think. The game moves at a pretty rapid clip, like jumping through, like, between these different locations and everything. I still think the game has definitely a little bit of a drab vibe compared to 2. But it's got a lot of shit going for it in its own right. There's no doubt about that. I'm very interested in just seeing how I will feel about these games in the end. Because I think if I'd played these games 20 years ago, 15 years ago, whatever, I would have felt differently than I do now, I think. And it's not to disparage this game, but I just think the first 2 games offer something just more refreshing and unique than this game does. But I will also say that very consistently throughout the series so far, I've liked each game significantly more by the time I finish it than I did when I started it. So this game certainly has its future ahead of it, and will have ample time to go all kinds of places and impress me in whatever ways I can think of, and probably some that I can't. So I'm excited to keep playing this. I'm excited to see more of it. And we will see more of this on Saturday when we resume streaming. Reminder, of course, that we have made some slight changes to the schedule recently, so Saturday streams will now be starting from 1 p.m. Central European Time. Yeah, Saturday we will continue the adventures of Samanosuke and Jacques. Before I leave you guys, let's figure out who we're gonna visit. We'll figure this out. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for hanging out. I hope you guys enjoyed. I sure have. No, thank you, Joestar. Thank you, everyone else, for the thank yous and all of that. I'm doing okay. Yeah, things are looking pretty good. So I'm not too worried about it. But yeah, I'm looking forward to the weekend. I'll say that much. So yeah, stick around for another minute or two and join the raid if you don't mind. And I will see you guys on Saturday, I hope. Thank you very much for watching.